I'm rebuilding an actual winless school today, and I might have made things a little too challenging. Sam Houston, currently sitting at 0-6, is located in Texas, so I thought, what would happen if I only recruited players from that state for this rebuild? Well, we're gonna find out as we're going until we win a national championship, but some of the players that we're having to go after are JUCOs. If you've ever watched any of my rebuilds, I always avoid them. I don't have a choice for recruiting only in Texas though, and I even decided to make it so up to 30 players can transfer out a year. Again, I'll be going until I bring Sam Houston and Addy, but whenever you take over a winless school, there's a lot of players that are going to want to transfer out, and currently there are 48 guys on our team that want to leave. I also don't know if we're going to be able to sign a defensive back because TCU is beating us out for the JUCO cornerbacks that I didn't even really want. They've already taken away Russ Rawls. We're going to have to remove these guys from our board. If I'm looking for defensive backs in the state of Texas, there's just not many options I can target. We don't have the pro potential grade to retain these players, so we might just have to recruit them and then get rid of them in a year when they want to transfer. But as you can see, no free safety is interested in Sam Houston, and neither is a strong safety. I've also noticed that since our school grades are so bad, we can't really win out on some of these hard sells. We're going to lose battles to any school that wants a prospect over us, especially TCU. I can try and schedule players for a visit against UTEP, which is the first game that we can play, but I'm sure these players will already make a decision before that game comes up. Ultimately, what we're going to have to do is start going after 1 and 2 stars to fill out our roster. And I'm really not sure what I'm going to do about our quarterback position, because every single one of these players has a deal breaker causing them to transfer out, even though we got 3 freshmen in this room. I've caught us up to where Sam Houston's at in real life. By the time this video goes up, they will still be winless, unlike the UCLA video. We're about to play against UTEP, who is currently sitting at 5-1 with Malachi Nelson. I've put some 3-star recruits on a visit for this game, and if we can somehow get this win, they would commit. I really don't have any expectations for this first season. I forgot Sam Houston plays at a stadium in Texas that only seats like 8,000 people. Never mind, it's 14,000. That is still pretty small, but look at how we just beat them off of the line. This is on Heisman difficulty too, so Humphreys must be a good receiver. We needed that touchdown in the final 5 minutes. We were in a stalemate with UTEP, tied up at 10-10, and they're gonna get the first. But ideally, we can keep the Miners out of the end zone, and that is a big hit. I really don't want to get too attached to many players on this team, because I know at the end of the season, they're most likely all transferring. But these guys might actually lead us to a rivalry win. On 3rd down, it's a flag. We should have the interception. It's dropped. But apparently, the Miners did something wrong here. It looks like they had offensive pass interference. You know what? We'll keep on backing them up. It's 3rd and 28. They're throwing up the seam, and Ishmael Jr. is going to end it. Maybe he's not. Maybe we are still going to stay winless because they do have all 3 of their timeouts, but we need a first. There's a lot of pressure on this 3rd and 5, but I'm looking at Phoenix the second. Or we can look in the flat to green. He's going to stay inbounds, and that'll do it. I was really hoping that Sam Houston would be capable of pulling something off like this, and it's only the 2nd time that they've been able to win this rivalry. Even though we were winless, a win like that speaks volumes to recruits, and all of these guys are also getting a student seats NIL deal. I can do that as an owner of the company, which is for college students only, that allows you to safely exchange your student tickets to other verified students. We don't have many schools since most have free entry for students or a good system that protects them. But the entire reason that student seats was created in 2020 was to prevent ticketing scams on Alabama's campus. Instead of trying to find one through Snapchat, GroupMe, we provide a safe place for those few schools where students can have no seller fees and they get 100% buyer protection. If you're wondering how we make any money, we have transparent buyer fees that are all listed on our site, and every ticket that's put up is by a student at whatever price they decide. In the future, I'd like to expand out a little bit more on all the information that we have listed here too. I think the pricing alerts are pretty neat. But again, we're only at schools where students are allowed to resell their student tickets, and we've safely exchanged over $3 million worth of student tickets since it was founded. If you're going to trade student tickets, at least be safe about it. Use student seats. We also have an app, but I'm just really excited about this. Now, unfortunately, we're still a small company, so with our small NIL budget, we've only been able to sign a couple 3-stars so far, but I think farther into the year, we'll be able to pick up like 6 or 7. I did not say that intentionally. Don't even start to do that meme thing. I don't know what it means to this day. We're about to play at Louisiana Tech, by the way. Not the most interesting opponent on our schedule, but we beat them 38-24, and technically, if we win our final 4 games, we're able to make it to a bowl. For a winless school to have a turnaround like that, it'd be pretty wild, but we have a little bit of hope, so we're going to play at Oregon State. This is a team that I watched in person when I went out to Appalachian State, and they're also winless at the time of me filming this, but I don't think we're going to be coming back in the final 7 minutes. See, what is Hunter Watson supposed to do? He literally had like 1.5 seconds there. That's instant pressure. Stuff like that went on the entire game, and most of our best offensive linemen want to transfer out. As I sit here and look at some of our school grades though, I can't really blame them. We're just restricting ourselves heavily by only being able to recruit in Texas. I have a strong feeling that our final few games are probably not going to go the way that we want them to. And there is a very real chance that Lester Sledge is the only quarterback on this roster next season. With a 2-point loss to Delaware and then a win over Middle Tennessee and FIU, we actually finished 4-8. It was a pleasant surprise for such a horrendous start to this season, but we still weren't that great in conference play. I could sit here and tell you about Hunter Watson, but he's a senior, so it doesn't matter. He won't be with the team next season. I could tell you about Shane Porter, our running back, but he also won't be with the team next season. Neither will Alton McCaskill. And for the couple of receivers that aren't seniors, like Thomas Jewett and Caleb Black, I think they're both going to transfer, but it'd be nice if at least one of them returned. Caleb cares a lot about brand exposure for being a 2-star prospect. His route running could get so solid, it's just not going to happen. He'd rather leave us behind and go play for a bigger school. I have to consider whether or not to fire these coordinators too, because one of them is an elite recruiter, which is a valuable thing to have on your staff. It looks like he's not going to get any bonuses in Tier 4, which would allow us to put more hours into players. But we do get 200 bonus XP whenever we sign a recruit with him. And then for our defensive coordinator, I love a tactician. This will help our stats in the future, and some of these additional things inside Scheme Guru can be super overpowered. It might be the first time that I'm keeping a full staff in a rebuild, especially for a staff room that has an F coach prestige. But that's what we're rocking with. We have goals of one day winning a national championship, like Duke just did over Ohio State. I don't know who at EA designed that playbook, but it is so overpowered. Look at all of these players that want to transfer. We're definitely losing 30 to the portal. You want to stack that on top of all the guys graduating. I think we might be losing like 60 or 75 players. There's a reason why I didn't get you all too familiar with this roster, because I knew most of it was just going to leave us anyway. Now you might be wondering, what are we replacing all of those losses with? Well, we got some 2-star commits on here. We lost a 3-star corner to Oklahoma State. I don't even want George because he cares about conference prestige. He's going to transfer in the future, but this is basically all that we have. The one thing that could save this class is if our quarterback has a good dev trait, but he's only normal dev. But I guess we still have the transfer portal to go after prospects from just Texas. None of the 4-stars are interested. We could get Braden Fowler-Nicholsley, though. He's from Colorado State. Between him and Austin Novosad, I'm hoping that we can get at least one of them. We've put 50 hours into some of the prospects as transfers I'd really like to get from the state of Texas. For the rest of them, there's a lot of juniors that we're just trying to acquire with 10 hours a week. That strategy can work for some players, but for other players, we're just going to immediately get locked out. By the final week in recruiting, I knew I'd been successful when I'm just sitting here clicking through like a million different player cards popping up their commitments. But I think this might be one of the first rebuilds where we pick up more 2-stars than 3-stars. It just seems like they're more prevalent. We'll just have to see what the split was once we find ourselves in the top classes. Number 58's not too bad. We actually signed 23 stars to just 13 2-stars. Inside our conference, that is enough to give us the best class just past Western Kentucky. And Austin Novosad's the perfect quarterback for us because he has star development and he should be around for at least 2 more seasons. We did still lose a couple of battles, one of those to SMU for a defensive tackle, the other one to North Texas for this corner. But I want to talk about the last second 3-star transfer receiver I put on our board that is 6'6". He also is star development, so Yvonne Carrion's going to be a beast. Besides Bubba Hampton, who we also picked up in the transfer portal from Alabama, he's coming in as our second highest overall receiver. We'll see how much room he has to grow. I'm hoping it's a lot, and he does. This is crazy. Now, I've gone back and forth on this, but I think to keep this rebuild more balanced and more fun, at least at the beginning, we're going to turn on auto progression. I'm not going to be able to manually progress a single player. And what that's led to is our best player being just an 82 overall. I think we're going to have to start him over Austin Novosad. I don't know what he improved besides speed this offseason. The computer is so dumb about how they progress their players. I bet this kid's accuracy could have gone so much higher, and it could have, but instead, no. Let's get him up to 81 speed instead of 76. I don't know why he focused on training his speed all offseason. He's not going to be the next Lamar Jackson. Just a bad decision on his part. We still have about 20 guys that want to leave our program as well. So this next year could be rough. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard if you purchase both Tactician and Recruiter, then you'll get the bonus XP for signing recruits. You'll be able to get bonus XP for each win, and you get the bonus XP whenever a player levels up. I've always assumed you only get the bonus XP for whatever your main archetype is, so let's say that we put a few of these points into Motivator. then the only time we get bonus XP because we're a motivator is whenever a player levels up. That's how I understand it, but Darrington Evans told me differently, so we're going to test it. That's something that could help your coach level up more in the future. I think our overall stayed the same as a 67, so it's like we made no progress. We have a couple of tough non-conference games, but most of our schedule every year is going to be against these Conference USA opponents. It's nothing I'm too worried about, but now I have to build out our recruiting board where the only deal breakers we can really focus on if we want to retain talent is guys that care about playing time and guys that care about proximity to home. I think every year I'll just add 4 and 5 stars to the board from Texas just in case we ever have a chance on one. For the second year in a row though, we don't stand a chance, so you're only going to see 3 stars up here, though Kevin Cookis could be a really good quarterback in the future. He's a gym, 86 throw power, not the most strong stats in the world. But guess what? He's competing with a quarterback room that has a player from every single generation, and Lester Sledge is the guy we brought in last year with his normal development. I've looked at his skill caps. His accuracy could get really good. I just don't know how it'll end up developing. We're starting this season at Troy. I feel like it's a winnable game. They're only a 58. But after Braden Fowler Nicolosley went for 3 passing touchdowns in his debut against them, getting us a 31-14 win, we went on to lose the next 2 weeks against TCU and Texas Tech like everybody expected. After that, it literally leaves us with 9 conference games in a very bad conference. I mean, you could see how we stacked up against a team like Missouri State. I didn't think we needed to hop into it, but they beat us 33-28. That's upsetting to see, but at the same time, Kevin Cookis committed to our school, so we got our first 3-star gym. For all these other battles, there's a couple other schools in the mix for some of the players, but most of them, we're the only team that's offering these guys a scholarship. I feel like we're getting a better chance to go after players from Texas this year versus last. We should hop into this game at Liberty. I don't care it says they're 55. They're typically a pretty good team, and at some point I have to play some games. I can't say much about our offense, like it's just been incredible throughout this matchup, but it's had a lot of positives. Bubba Hampton's made some good catches. We've run the ball for a decent bit, and I didn't forget that we have a 6'6" receiver. We're not going to be throwing the ball up to him, rather looking for him on a slant. If it's not there, Braden Fowler Nicolosley goes to the 1. He might be slow, but he has set us up for success, and that's where we should be able to punch it in. Xander Cheek is pretty tiny, though. He must have played wide receiver in the past if he's number 81. Kid looks like he's like 5'5" out there, but he gets a touchdown for us. Although it's only season number 2, I feel like we're about to turn things around with Sam Houston pretty fast. They actually won a bowl in 10 games the year before. The issue, though, is after that happened, they lost their head coach to Temple. I'm assuming that's when most players decided to leave and why they're struggling this year in real life, but they do have guys like Xander Cheek sitting on the roster, former 1-star recruit, 5'7". He's our best running back, and I think he's going to have another season in him too. We really just need to get that championship contender grade up throughout the season, and FIU is also struggling. Facing the Panthers and taking them down with almost 100 total yards less of offense was the start of us going on a 4-game winning streak where we also beat schools like Tulsa and Louisiana Tech, but then Kennesaw State got their first conference win of the year against us a week later. And what that unfortunately did was drop us down to 5th in the Conference USA standings. Now, we might still be able to bounce back from that and get to the conference championship, but we're going to have to beat Jacksonville State. And another thing that we're fighting for in this matchup is just being a bowl eligible team, because this would be our 6th win. You can see that there's really not much of a stadium that we're playing in at the moment. That is a feature I'd love to get in these video games. As I rebuild these schools, we can also build up bigger stadiums if we have success. I think somebody from EA mentioned in an interview that they're looking into it, so that's pretty neat. A blind read is not helping us, though. I don't think Braden Fowler Nicolosley saw that there was a defender standing there. We're just going to throw it up to our 6'6" receiver instead on the next play. Ivan Carrion could be getting another look here. Single coverage. Oh, we're giving it to him. Come on, catch it at the 1. They gave us a 6'6" demon in the portal, and he might just help us come back against Jacksonville State. You could barely tell whenever he was just squeezing through the line as well. Xander Cheek finishing that drive off for us, and we get the sack. That was a huge 3rd and 6 stop. We're going to try and set ourselves up for a kick return. I don't know if the spin's going to get us free, though. And our offense really hadn't done much in this game until we started looking over to one player. So guess what we're going to continue to do? Look at the size mismatch. I know he didn't catch that ball. He had some weird, awkward animation. But if they continue to give us that look, eventually he's going to be able to bring it in. This is what I'm saying about Conference USA. If we can just get a couple great players out of Texas through the portal, we're going to be dominating. The teams inside our conference just won't be able to keep up. It's about to be 3rd and 4. And I'm not sure if we even need a quarterback spy out there, but we got one. What was that throw? Have you ever seen so many bad mistakes from the computer that you just question if the difficulty somehow gets messed up? Because that's what I just did. Turns out, no, Jacksonville State's just that bad. But Bubba Hampton let this ball roll all the way back to the 2. and he scooped it up for some reason, but he might just pull off the greatest return in Sam Houston history. No one is getting a hand on him. We got around the corner. Bubba Hampton, the transfer from Alabama, is running out of gas. Get into the end zone, buddy. That's going to get me sending you some extra cash from student seats as well. He's putting us on. I'll tell you this, though. We have not won the game yet. They've started to drive down the field pretty well, and the ref couldn't, like, get in the way of the ball there and knock it down. I mean, absolutely no disrespect when I say this. Actually, it will be full disrespect, but these Sam Houston defenders suck. We just let them come back into the game. They could probably go for 2 and win it, but instead they've decided to send things to overtime. It feels like nobody on this team is able to play their zone coverage, so we switched things up. We went man-to-man there, and on 3rd down, they're not getting to the marker. I don't think Bubba Hampton's kick return is gonna end up being worthless. We should still be able to get a win out of this game as our tiny little running back tries to evade the defenders. To go from using somebody that is 5'6" to 6'6", though, is what we were looking to do. We couldn't find him. He took all the attention away as we get into the end zone, and this is the win that Sam Houston needed in this rebuild. That's going to take us to a bowl, and it's going to put us back in the running to get to the conference championship. And I guess we have to talk about how this recruiting class is coming along. So far, I'd say great. We're about to sign another 3-star cornerback. I do have a theory that once you get to top 3 on some of these prospects and they don't have any other scholarship offers, you can just leave it there and no one else will ever come after them. I'm testing that out, but the reason we've done that is I wanted to move all those hours over to some other 3-stars, hoping that we can get some more commits from them. In a perfect world, we finish this season strong, and in a couple of seasons, we can start to also pitch prospects on championship contender. I feel like if we could just become conference champions, we might be able to get away with that. You know who we're about to face, though. It's the Blue Hens. They might be a 52 overall. They might only have half a star of prestige, but they are in a good spot. In order for us to eventually win a national championship with Sam Houston, the first step to that is just going to be taking over our conference. But that never seemed like the hard part to me. The hard part to me seemed like us being able to compete with some of the biggest schools in the country, which I'm not sure we'll ever get to. We're going to have to build a championship contending roster out of one of the worst conferences in the country. I mean, you can see how this game is going against one of the better teams we'll face. I think it's just going to be a major challenge for us to earn national respect when we can't even respect some of these programs. We are literally just throwing it up to 6'6" Ivan Carrion. He only has 86 speed. He's still dusting some of these corners. You see the type of game that we have. I've already hopped into 3 regular season games this year, though, so we're just going to have to sim this rivalry matchup against UTEP for a spot in the conference championship. It would have been pretty cool if we made it there, but they beat us by 14 points, doubling the score. And in the future, the Miners aren't even going to be in this conference. They're leaving for the Mountain West, but I'm not going to break apart the one rivalry that we have in our conference with Sam Houston, so they're going to stay there for this video, and they just ruined this season. I'm really disappointed that we couldn't take them down, and look at how many guys still want to transfer out of this team. There's players for championship contender like Xander Cheek that are going to leave us. We might not have a running back on our roster, but if we could just luck ourselves into a decent one, I feel like they could have a season like Isaac Brown had, just because he'd be playing against weaker competition. As for our bowl game opponent, we're getting to face off against Louisiana Monroe. That's always super nice to see. We got our flights booked. We're going down near Miami, and I'm hoping that we can take down the Warhawks so we can make it to 8 wins on the year. I really wasn't sure how this season was going to go for us since we lost so much talent, but I think because most of our conference also lost a lot of players and we used the portal well, getting guys like Bubba Hampton that just caught that touchdown pass, we were able to build a really good team in season 2 that was able to win a bowl game over Louisiana Monroe. Braden Fowler Nicolosley was incredible for us too. 32 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He had almost 3,000 passing yards on the ground. Xander Cheek rushed for almost 900 yards. It's just the fact that he wants to transfer due to championship contender. That is really frustrating to see, but Bubba Hampton with his 16 touchdowns will be sticking around. He cares about playing time, and so does Ivan. It looks like Duke wasn't able to go back-to-back. They lost to Alabama. We got an LSU-Alabama national championship where the Crimson Tide came out on top. But checking in on that was delaying the inevitable. What I'm worried about, players leaving, because I know there's going to be a lot of guys that want to transfer, like Micah Strickland, the freshman with star development that had such a potentially bright future for us. You already know when the persuasion chance is low, they're most likely just not coming back. And I was going to say where it's going to hurt us the most is at the cornerback position, but we were able to convince one of them to return at least. When it comes to some of the seniors graduating, nobody that good. Braden was the highest overall. Definitely not anybody that's going to get drafted. I'm excited for the portal though, because this is where we made some of our best additions last season. We know that 4 stars aren't going to be interested in Sam Houston, but these 3 stars could end up being really good. If there's one thing about Texas, it is always giving giving us a lot of quarterbacks that we can cycle between. But even with these 29 players on our board, with the class that we've already signed, and then potentially getting some of these transfers, I'm not sure we filled every need. If you look at how many seniors, juniors, and sophomores we have, each class has less than 10 players currently. We only have 23 freshmen. There's just so many needs at every single position because we've been losing so many players every year. And that's why it's going to be crucial that I'm able to sign 35 players. If there's any chance that I'm not going to sign a prospect, I have to remove them from our board. I also have to be looking through these 2 stars to see if there's anything that's decent, though I hate the deal breakers on these guys and they're not looking good. I basically had to recruit guys that care about coach prestige. Even though ours is a C-2, those guys are so bad that this is well enough for them to want to stay with our team. I know that we're not going to be good, but as long as we're better than the rest of Conference USA, that's all that we need for now. And sure enough, I'm not so surprised that I see another Conference USA team trying to steal away this 2-star linebacker from us. Now, I can sit here and scroll through basically every player and say that we won the battle for them, that we were that effective with our transfer portal recruiting, but the one guy that I wanted ended up going to Army, and he's a perfect fit for them. He's like a 92 speed quarterback. It just hurts a little bit, though I am expecting this class to be ranked higher than our last. It's 43rd in the country, inside our conference, still the best. Middle Tennessee actually finished inside the top 25. But the fact that we had a class ranked this high with only players from Texas and no 4 stars is enough to make me happy. We're taking our steps in the right direction. Kevin Cookus is going to have impact development. I was hoping for a little bit better out of him. We're going to see if we can find a star anywhere. But only one player had that, and it was freshman transfer cornerback Doug Spann. You know, since he's 6'3" and he cares about playing time, that feels like a pretty solid pickup. What I want to discuss, though, is this 6'5", 250-pound athlete with 79 speed that we're not going to put at tight end. I'm actually going to make him a middle linebacker because I think he could be a really fun user in the future. For now, though, there's going to be a lot of other guys that improve more than him. We're going to take a look at this freshman receiver that's up to 95 speed. He's an 80 overall. I think we just got Sam in the transfer portal. And he's actually better than Bubba Hampton, who is our #1 receiver. We have some really great guys to throw the ball to this season. Taven Hendricks up 12 overalls, and I think it's going to be Austin Novosad getting his chance as a senior. We did bring in Patrick Creighton Jr. through the portal, but the sophomore only is normal development. He has some pretty rough skill caps, and I don't know what he's got going on by coloring his eyebrows and part of his hair, but he is matching the Bearcats colors. I really can't decide if I love it or hate it. It might just be enough for me to start him anyway because it's pretty cool. We have 4 guys that want to transfer out. No, we have 6 of them, but that's not that bad. I take everything I just said back. We advanced 1 more week, and all of a sudden, there is at least 12 players that want to transfer. It's actually going to be 14. Coach prestige needs to go up this season, and the only way for that to rise is us win more games as a 71 overall instead of a 67. So we are making some progress in the right direction. Schedule doesn't really look too bad right now. I'm just going to continue to redshirt guys that I can, and that's going to keep this roster pretty young for a while. We have 37 freshmen and just 14 sophomores, 8 juniors, and 10 seniors. Now, so far throughout this rebuild, our school grades and our team prestige are both things that haven't changed much. But I'm still going to be aggressive, and for the first time, we're going to pursue a 4-star, even if they aren't that interested. We are going to sit here. We're going to throw our NIL money in their face, all for schools like Missouri, Texas Tech, and Alabama to want to pursue the couple that we're looking at. I don't even know if it's worth it to keep our hours on someone like Reggie Goff. He is 85 speed, but then I found a 3-star running back that is 90 speed, so obviously Hamilton's better. But it's not like there's many other uses that I can put those hours to anyway, because our board is looking pretty small compared to some of the other years. I'm just not loving the options out of Texas that are interested in our school. In season 3, we start the year playing against the school that we just took down in a bowl game. But I guess we have somehow gotten worse because we lost this one 27-14. It really feels like we're just setting ourselves up to lose a bunch of stuff this year. I'm taking Reggie Goff off of the board. The reason that we're leaving on Devin is because Texas Tech and Missouri don't have a good pipeline for this recruit. If we can just get him on an early visit and win that game, we might be able to get the 4-star to commit, but our better chance at getting him to commit is if we have a bad record going into it. Then the bonus we would get would be even higher, so we're going to schedule everybody for a Jacksonville State game that I want to hop into. And I was somewhat preying on our downfall before we got there, but the one game that we won was on the road at TCU. We lost to Hawaii, Colorado State, Louisiana Monroe. We beat the Horned Frogs. It doesn't make any sense, but we have a good hard sell for Devin Carrion, and we're currently sitting in first place. So I feel like for potentially signing our first 4-star, things are still lining up the way that we need them to, especially since Jacksonville State is 4-1. If we lose this game, though, the rest of the season's basically gone since we started so bad, which is why it is so important that we're able to finish off this drive here at the end of the game. It wasn't the correct read. There were 2 guys there that could have put a hand on the ball. But Austin Novosad puts us up by 10, and we sent the house on 4th down. Outside of a couple of our receivers, our entire offense that's out there is basically new. But we could ice the game with a 3rd down conversion, and that's exactly what we're going to do with Overmeyer. After that, we were respectful. We didn't try and run up the score. We just burnt through the rest of the clock. And with the commitment screen popping up, Devin Carrion has actually chose our program. I thought it was just going to be some 3 stars. That student seats money came in big for NIL. Do you understand how fun it is that I can just plug my own company now? I'm going to stop. I got to stop. But I am really excited about getting Devin. Even if we didn't scout him and we have no idea how good he's going to be, it says he's a speedster, so I'm expecting fast. I do think I'm going to have to start dipping into some of these 2 stars, though, with this class, just because we have a lot of team needs that aren't being met at the moment. We know that guys are most likely going to want to transfer away, and I'm not liking that these are the only deal breakers on these offensive linemen. I mean, we could hold out for the transfer portal, but those guys' deal breakers are normally not very favorable. And since we're only recruiting players from Texas, sometimes you can just get an unlucky class. There's 1 week left for players to visit now that I've advanced a couple more. It's unfortunately the same week that Louisiana Tech scheduled Brian Quick for one, so we might lose this 3-star. But when it comes to how we're doing on the field, I think things have been pretty solid. After taking down Liberty, you're going to see that FIU beat us by a point, but outside of them, we have not lost a conference game. And of the final 3 teams on our schedule, Middle Tennessee, Kennesaw State, and Missouri State, all of them are inside the top 5. It makes me wonder which ones I should hop into. I think we're going to start by playing at the Bears. They are literally 3-6 and still challenging for a spot in our conference championship game. You just can't make up how bad Conference USA turns out to be in Dynasty. I forgot that they sent me this shirt in the mail. I don't know how they got my address. I'm not sure how it got here, but we got to put more respect on the conference now. I appreciate you all, Conference USA. I do happen to like a lot of the teams that are a part of it too. Look at how we're opening up this game, though. It's so simple. I guess there's a reason that Missouri State had only won 3 games this season. They couldn't score a single point against us, so we picked up the easy win. And I will say nothing else bad about this conference because, again, I have no idea how Conference USA got my address, but they sent me that shirt. They know where I live, and I don't know how. That is a scary concept to think about, but we're thinking about a college football conference. Anyway, Kennesaw State, our next opponent, 3-7. And in that game, Bubba Hampton went for 158 yards and 2 tutties. We were able to take them down 45-21. It leaves us with 1 matchup against the best team in our conference. Middle Tennessee was ranked last season. They're currently 8-3. We're going to play them twice, so we're going to play them here, and then we're going to have to play them in the conference championship since we're both locked in, so we're going to skip over it the first time. Especially since we have to go on the road, I could see this going bad. I like a good redemption story though, so even though we're sitting at 7-5, we'll get our chance at redeeming ourselves. We lost the game, and what was most surprising is our championship contender fell from a B- all the way to a D+. That was all off of 1 loss to the best team in our conference, and it was only by 3 points. I think you can start to see why it's going to be hard to turn Sam Houston into a national powerhouse. We are not respected at the moment, and it doesn't help that no one else in our conference is performing well. Like if Liberty and Western Kentucky were having good seasons, it would make a little bit of a difference. And I really can't believe that they have the Sun Belt rated lower than us at the moment. I think the most frustrating part about our championship contender grade dropping is I wanted Cox, but we're not going to be able to get the athlete linebacker who would have had like 90 speed because we need our championship contender to rise. But at least we have a surefire way of getting that done right here, going to Middle Tennessee and winning our first conference championship. This is the exact same game taking place in the exact same stadium just a couple of weeks later. We're playing back-to-back because we couldn't beat them. If we took them down, we would have at least gotten to host. And you know who I'm trying to throw it up to. Now, we didn't bring that one in, but if this is cover 2, I don't mind in trying to split the zones. Maybe we should just play it safe, go underneath the Bubba. Austin Novosad's already thrown 1 interception in this game, and I'm not sure if this handoff's going to work. Conklin gets in. Gregory Conklin's definitely not as enjoyable to run with as our last running back. This one is normal sized, and he currently has 25 carries for 100 yards. He's not as great about evading tackles. On 3rd and goal, we're going to hit our drag, and that's just going to get us in. The freshman transfer from Ohio State was able to get into the end zone. And what did I say? I like getting revenge. That is what we've done against Middle Tennessee. This could be the start of us just winning the conference every single year, but we have to uphold that standard, which is going to be a little bit more difficult over the next couple. On the flip side, though, if we can just win a few straight, we'll be super established. And the guys that I've recruited so far haven't had that much time to develop, so they might start to show up in the next couple years for us. We get Ball State in the Cure Bowl. The players are going to be wearing pink on their jerseys in October, like football should be. I don't know why we don't go back to those days. I like breast. You like breast. I'm pretty sure everybody likes breast. I think breast cancer awareness is a great thing. There have even been a couple times in my life where I've been worried with how it could affect some people in my family, but I feel like because of the awareness that was spread, everything was smooth. That is why pink right now is a beautiful thing on this field. This is how football in October is meant to be played. Now, it's October when this is going live, not in the season. But you get the point. Ball State, they've done nothing in this game. I think this is what everyone was expecting, though. We were clearly the better team. And I'm hoping this win raises our championship contender. I feel like it should. We finished with a conference championship and a bowl win. So ever since we had a D+, I'm thinking that we've been able to get back up to like a C+ maybe. And the reason I'm so focused on that is if we could get up to like a C, it would really help with the transfers that are available, but we're going to be stuck at a C-. That's pretty annoying, but it is what it is. Alabama beats Georgia for another national championship. They've been able to win the last two after Duke did, so clearly Kalen DeBoer has figured things out. And I forgot that Austin Novosad was a senior this year, so we're losing a 4,000-yard, 35 touchdown, 4 interception passer. That's a big hit that's not going to be with us. Gregory Conklin, by the way, he literally averaged 3 yards per carry. I don't carry at 11 touchdowns. This guy is not a good starting running back. I think if Kentrell Magalu-Lahan can have a good offseason, this freshman could gladly take that spot away from him. And just look at the year that our receivers are having. Bubba Hampton over 1,000 yards, same for Sam out of the portal. I'm surprised that Ivan only got 704 tutties, but maybe he'll have a better senior season. And I just realized I have not been spending any coach points. We're now a level 20. I think what I want to go down is this strategist pathway, but I'm not 100% sure yet. The reason for that is inside here, we could get a lower deal breaker threshold for all of our players, plus our visits would have bigger impacts, which could really help us in recruiting. I just think Architect's kind of useless. We have to win 4 rivalries to unlock it, and typically I'd love to do talent developer, but we have to have 2 players drafted in the first round. I don't think that's happening at Sam Houston. It's hard enough just getting players to stay here. I know you've remembered George Matlock. I didn't want to recruit him because he cared about conference prestige. Well, now he's going to leave our program because clearly our conference prestige is not rising. We're also seeing numerous freshmen, including Kevin Cookus, that potentially wanted to leave due to playing time, but the quarterback's returning. These 2 corners, one of them is going to stay, one of them is not. There's definitely a lot of annoying young losses to the portal this year, but we actually had more players just leave the program due to graduation. I thought tight end Patrick Overmeyer was a good pickup for a couple of seasons for us from UTSA, but now he's gone, and we're not going to be able to sign either linebacker. We lost 2 of them to other programs. We have a couple guys still on our board. We have 9 signings as we go into the portal period. I guess the big moment is, what is Devin Carrion's dev trait? It's just going to be impact. Could we get a star in here? We did get it on a center, but that's something that I don't normally notice much of. I want it on a quarterback, a receiver. At least for the first time, though, we have a chance at getting a 4-star transfer from Texas. Parker Livingston is willing to consider us. He is a senior. We also have Myron Robinson, someone we couldn't win the battle on a couple seasons ago, back in the portal. Same thing with Haas Henji. And I feel like my transfer portal strategy is pretty straightforward. I put 50 hours on the guys that I really want. For the rest of them, I just offer them a scholarship. I throw 10 hours their way. If no other schools pursue them, then we should win that battle over the 4 weeks. But the hard part about only recruiting in Texas is most of the time other schools do pursue them, and we don't have anybody that can replace those players on our board because there's not that many prospects in the state. I mean, it's a lot, don't get me wrong, but I wish that we could get some players from other states. It would make this rebuild so much simpler. I guess I am the one that set those rules though, so it is my fault. If we go to our visits scheduled, you're going to see we have a lot of complimentary visits, especially for the quarterback, because that's what makes these so powerful. It's the main reason that we got basically every player on our board this season, including 4-star receiver Parker Livingstone. That's a big one. I still think that Haas Hedgeny, I don't know how to say his last name. I've mispronounced this in so many videos. It might even be Haney, so we could roll with that. He has star development. That is another big one in my opinion. Same with Myron Robinson. You've seen him transfer in. We got star dev on Steve Angel. But that doesn't guarantee that these guys are going to have successful player progression during training results anyway. Our classes just keep on getting better though. This one was number 36. We had 2 4-stars in it, still only from the state of Texas. And I didn't realize until now how many athletes that we had signed, but one of them, Jesse Cox, the kid that I said I wanted, he only has 85 speed, not 90, so he's not going to make as great of a linebacker as I was hoping. Now, I am aware that we have some receivers that care about playing time that aren't going to be happy with the playing time that they get, so I'm trying to see if there's other positions they could could play. I don't love a tight end that's only 190 pounds, but we're moving Mike Rubin there. For the first time in this rebuild, we've been getting a couple of dev trait upgrades, which I love to see. One of them was on a junior cornerback, and one of them was on sophomore receiver Sam Tenuta. He is up to an 82. He's going to be our future after these 3 seniors graduate this year. And he already has silver takeoff with 95 speed. He's the type of receiver that I love to have with room to grow as well. One thing that's probably not going to be talked about enough, though, is the fact that Mike Rubin makes for a very good tight end. It's mainly because of his stats through the air. If you look at his actual blocking stats, we're definitely going to struggle if he lines up to block. And I completely forgot that I was going to consider making Hoss Haney a running back for us because he has 95 speed and he also has stuff like shifty, sidestep, workhorse, but instead he's just going to play QB. This is not good for the potential of Kevin Cookus sticking around because now that he cares about playing time, I think the freshman quarterback could leave after this season. I'm thinking ahead though. I'm sick of all of our starting quarterbacks only being with us for 1 season, so we are going to cut Patrick Creighton Jr., who's actually set up to be the starter next season, and we're going to let Kevin Cookus stay caring about playing time. With that change, I think he's going to stick around. If you look at our schedule, the game I want to talk about is going to be Houston because Sam Houston isn't in Houston, but they're like an hour outside of it. At least that's what I think, and it's going to be our opportunity to pick up our first win over a team that's inside the top 25. I think you can start and see, though, why I don't even like recruiting players that care about playing time because with Devin Carrion, he's like our 8th best receiver, but if we don't put him on the field, then the 4-star is going to leave. Since about 75% of our roster is still made up out of freshmen and sophomores, we only need to recruit a class of about 15 players this year. And I think for the first time in this rebuild, if I see a running back that only has something like 81 speed after scouting, I'm going to decide that it's not worth a roster spot to pursue him. I'd also like to be able to scout at certain positions that we're not at the moment, which is why that we're going to just spend a little bit inside recruiter here. The end goal is still getting to strategist, but we have to win 2 more bowl games for that to happen. Our offensive coordinator is covering the offensive side of things because Zach Patterson is an elite recruiter. We haven't gotten the bonuses at any positions yet, but it's coming still. And on the defensive side of things, with our scheme guru, I was really hoping that some of our stats would get boosted, but he's more so focusing on this bottom half. I kind of wish that upgrades for coordinators were manual, that you could control how they progress, but maybe it'd be a little bit too overpowered. I don't know. I'm not sure why EA doesn't do it. If you look at our board, we got a 4-star corner on here that we're competing against so many other schools for. I had to see if we could get a 4-star signing 2 years in a row, but I have a feeling that one's not going to go our way. However, if we could stun Houston here, we might put the nation on notice. We might get a little bit more interest from some of these 4-star prospects. But what we have unfortunately learned in this game is our roster's not at the level that we think it is. We're using our 95 speed to escape the pressure and move the chains. I can't believe that Haas is still going all the way to the 1. But the problem with Haney is he's been pretty inaccurate. He's mainly just good at running the ball like what you saw. For this comeback to still be possible, we need to get the onside kick, and it just went straight into his hands. That was an awful one. I can't even say at least we didn't get blown out because up until that touchdown, they had doubled the score. But it wasn't our offense who was at fault for that. It was definitely our defense. Now, last season, we couldn't beat Louisiana Monroe or Colorado State in Sim. We beat one of them this season, but I can't believe the Warhawks are still taking us down. The Bruins did as well, which puts us at 1-3 as we get ready for conference play. And I think that loss is going to be the reason that we don't get this gym at defensive tackle because we had him on a visit, but we just couldn't pull it off. We're just not as good as I'd like to think we are. We're only good against our conference opponents, who Missouri State is 1-3. I couldn't see their overall from that screen, but they're a 54. I mean, it felt like the most obvious game for us to sim as we go to 2-3, but there's a lot of guys that want to transfer out, especially due to playing style, which means it's all the players that came here in the portal last year. That's the problem with recruiting out of the portal, though. You see our sophomore receivers playing the best of all of them. And it just stinks that the 1 3-star gym I found on our board is going to go to North Texas instead of Sam Houston. We do still have a chance at signing a 4-star cornerback, though. We're in first place at the moment. He can't come on a visit until we get to week 9 against Delaware. I don't think the bonuses from this are going to be great. We have to get there as well, and I'm going to hop into this game against the Miners because they're a rival. That's literally the only reason that I'm playing it. It's not because they're good. I just don't trust us to take care of business in Sim. There are definitely times where I'm looking to have fun as well. Like if I see that one-on-one matchup with our 6'6" receiver, he didn't even need to moss him, but he's going to hang on. Ivan Carrion is going to be missed from this team, And my plan for the 2-point conversion when we have a 95, 96 speed quarterback is this. From that moment, the 21-point lead would stick. No one else was able to score in the fourth quarter. And it is our third series win over the Miners. Hoss Haney has been very good. After we face off against the Panthers, we're going to get a much-deserved bye week. But if we would have lost this game, I couldn't have said it was that deserved. 46-44, they always give us a super interesting one. This is what the rest of our schedule looks like. By the time that we make it to the Delaware game, for this 4-star cornerback, our hard sell isn't going that well. We're still in first place though. And there haven't been too many other additions to the board recently besides Enrique Pina, who has 96 throw power as a 3-star quarterback. He has some great accuracies too. He might legitimately just come in and start as a true freshman. That's how high I am on him. Let's sim against Delaware though. This is where we could be getting a 4-star 2 years in a row. And we got the committed screen, but it was for a defensive tackle instead. We ended up winning that game 24-19, but it didn't move the needle enough because the bonuses weren't that great. I think Baylor's going to catch up with their week 10 visit, but if they lose, I guess that's a different story, and we might need to consider playing against the Bulldogs. We can only hop into one more game this season. Maybe we'll just wait until Middle Tennessee, but they are sitting at 3-1 in conference play. And I think you all will be able to understand the decision I made to just sim a couple of weeks. I thought they were coming up on the schedule, but they never were. Middle Tennessee is not one that we're going to have to play. We still have to face Jacksonville State though. And if we take down the Gamecocks, this would lock our spot into the conference championship. In the future, what I'd like to do is just skip over the conference games and then play the non-conference ones, because I think we're going to be a lot better than basically every team in our conference. But the reason we can't do that yet is situations like this, where we're currently trailing and we just had to test that linebacker. He looked very undersized, and he also wasn't looking at the football. We have a minute to score a touchdown on Jacksonville State and make sure we stay undefeated in conference play. I'm really not that worried about the clock at the moment. We have some rain going our way as well, so we're just going to slip around these defenders into the end zone. But we did score a little bit too soon. For the 2-point conversion, I'm just going to look for a couple of our hitch routes. They can deflect it, and that's where we probably should have just run around with our quarterback to get in instead. That's a bad read though. I wish he was making more of those throughout this game because we haven't seen it often. And it is now 3rd and 15. Our defensive line's putting in that work. They're going to go over to their flat to make it 4th down. I hope Chris Jimerson Jr. just gets out a quick throw that's not there. We're watching the hitch that he probably wanted to take. And this is how Sam Houston is going to remain undefeated in conference play. We still have one other game that we have to sim, but I'm sure we're going to stumble into that conference championship in a great spot. We're also going to continue to get committed screens, but it's from the 3-stars. And I will say, all of them are going to choose our program. We're going to have 12 signings potentially going into the offseason. We are sitting at number 1 currently for Rashawn, but Baylor is catching up. I still think we could close out the battle this week though and just end things, assuming we don't lose to a team that is 1-10. Sure enough, I think we took down Liberty because we've been able to sign a 4-star 2 years in a row. And we still have 7 players that want to transfer out due to our playing style, but that's okay because I see a number 23 up there next to our logo. Sam Houston is starting to get some respect around the country. We have to play Middle Tennessee for another conference championship. Are there any other teams like Hawaii that could take away our spot in the playoff? They're going to be the 5th highest rated conference champion. East Carolina could also take that slot. We certainly don't have a path in, but that's okay. All we got to worry about is just winning back-to-back. If we can get that result this time in our own home stadium, then all the other stuff will follow in the future. I'm excited to see the crowd as well as we run out. Do we have a full stand? We do. We've also come out on fire offensively, so it's looking like we're just going to run away with this one as it is 24-0. And you know what? Maybe it is best that we didn't decide to move him to running back. Hoss Haney led us to a 42-0 win over the Blue Raiders. But I guess some credit should go to our defense as well. I have some really shocking news as well. I can't figure out where we're ranked number 12 because it's not the coaches and it's not the college football playoff one. But I have seen somewhere where it says that we're number 12, not number 22. You can see it right there. I feel like that means we made it to a playoff spot, but I don't understand how because Hawaii won their game. Texas A&M is going to get the Heisman Trophy winner. I wish it showed the touchdowns there. And we really are in the playoff. We're facing against Bama. We might be in a little bit of trouble there, but I won't complain. This is more national recognition that I was not expecting us to get this season. Do we have any star development guys from this class? No. Even the 4-star is normal. That's okay, though. We somehow got into the playoff as the 5th highest rated conference champion, which means one of these conferences had a very lowly rated one. And I had to do some investigating because I was just confused. It looks like the Big 12 had an off year, so Texas Tech winning it, they're not even ranked. Again, though, it's amazing news for us. us. We're about to take on the Crimson Tide. I don't expect this to go well, but at least we made it this far. I mean, just take a look at the environment that we are headed into. It's a night game. They got the light show going. What are we supposed to do as little Sam Houston in Bryant-Denny Stadium? My one hope was senior receiver Bubba Hampton would have a really big game, since this is where he played and he transferred in from. But he's barely been out there. Haas has been making some of the most questionable reads he's had all season, and the only way that we're going to move the ball is if he just decides to run. This is not a good look for this team. I mean, he's about to get chased down in the pocket. He fumbles as well. Okay, I think it's time that we just turn off the TV. I shouldn't have dove there, but yeah, turn off the TV. You don't need to see anymore. This is it. Game's over. If we didn't end up having a better second half, I wouldn't have even shown you all the final score. That went exactly how I thought it would, though. The Crimson Tide have won the last 2 national championships. I'm surprised that they fell to Clemson, who couldn't beat UCLA. UCLA was also on our schedule. We went to the Rose Bowl early in the season and lost to them 38-20. So yeah, we weren't at the level we needed to be at if we wanted to be competitive in the playoff. We're going to be losing a senior quarterback once again. There's always turnover at that position. And the running back position, 3.5 yards per carry with a big season. It's just not right. We seriously need to get some better running backs coming through here. The receivers have all been incredible, though I'm surprised at some of the step backs we saw, like Bubba Hampton barely touched it. He wasn't on the field because we had to get playing time to other guys, and I don't see any of our quarterbacks wanting to leave. That is big news, even if we're going to be losing a lot of our defense that just led us to this successful season. We'll see if we can convince any of them that they want to return, but they don't. Not a single one, so we're going to have to say goodbye to all of them. We also have our graduating receivers like Ivan Carrion. He should get drafted as an 88 overall. If he doesn't, that's a disgrace. We really needed our pro potential to start going up, and between him and Myron Robinson getting taken in the 7th round, they're late round picks. I'm not sure it's going to affect it that much, but if we look at the receiver position, we have a C+ grade there. I think that's good enough to get some players out of the portal, and then at the linebacker position, we have a B-. Stuff like that is why I thought this year we'd have more options from Texas in the portal, but there's no 4-stars interested in our program. I'm wondering why they're locking us out. It looks like they mainly care about pro potential, and some of them are just in their top 8. I guess one of the neat things about recruiting in Texas, though, is if we ever wanted to recruit back players that enter the portal from our own team, we're going to be able to do that for multiple positions. And I think of all the additions that we're about to make, quarterback might be the most interesting and best position for us because Matthew Bloom is coming in as a transfer freshman. He's coming from a big school. We have his hard sell. But even with all of that, I'm not sure we actually beat out North Texas because it wasn't looking good headed into the final week, but Riley Pettijohn is back on the team. That was a player that tried to transfer away. And it is true that Matthew Bloom chose the mean green over us, but at the end of the day, I completely forgot about quarterback Enrique Pina. If his dev trait is great, that's good for us. It's impact, so I'll take it. He even got his brother to transfer in at right tackle. I think it's sick that his brother is blocking for him, but if there was any massive takeaway from this class, it's not going to be the defensive tackle choosing Hawaii over us. It's going to be Reggie Goff, an elite dev transfer running back. I don't care that his archetype is north-south blocker. All he cares about is playing time, and he has so much potential. He's starting as an 85 speed, so we got to get that up, but I'm sure that and his elusiveness will get better alongside his power stuff. He's easily the player with the most potential that we've been able to sign so far. Our recruiting class ranking dropped from last season. This time it's number 44. I think it's still good enough to be the number 1 in our conference, though, which is all that matters. As long as we can maintain winning our conference with players just from Texas, we'll be good. All this success has not really risen our average home game attendance to where it's sold out crowds, but it has gotten our championship contender higher. It's also gotten our coach prestige a little bit higher. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Enrique Pina might really start for us as a true freshman, because once we move him over to that position, he's our highest overall quarterback before training results. See, we still got to see what happens with Kevin Cookis' progression. But it only went up by 4 overalls, and we have a decision to make. Do we want this kid that could start for us for 3 seasons, or do we want to start the other quarterback? I think it's all going to come down to whose skill caps are better. We can't look into that too much, though, because first we have to look at some of these other training results. We're going to end up having our best roster ever. I don't think we've ever had this many players above an 80. And it just hit me that Reggie Goff off is the player I wanted to sign only a season ago. I think he came from Alabama, who got him. He had 85 speed, now he's up to 87. That's why I was able to remember the name. Then our receiving room has 5 different targets that are all very similar overalls, so we're gonna have to decide who we want to actually have out there on the field. 96 speed on Sam, gotta love that. Our tight end is an 85, Mike Rubin. And I'd say across the board, we are very balanced with our overalls. We still need to win 2 more bowl games to unlock strategist, though. I think we're just gonna start spending in tactician. We need to spend at least another 30 here, but we are gonna spend more than 30. We're gonna spend 64 to be exact, because I want our linebackers and I want our defensive line to get a boost in overall. Now, I thought with how many players I brought in, we were gonna have to cut some guys, but our roster size is still under 85. And I guess that all just comes back to the fact that it seems like we lose 6 to 7 players minimum from the portal every single season. A couple of our receivers are at risk of leaving as well, though looking at our schedule, this is what they're going to have in real life, because I'm not changing anything. I know that we don't have a very good placement for the bye weeks. This is actually really unfortunate. We have 11 straight games, but we're an 86 overall and we could go undefeated. Now, I still don't believe that we're anywhere near good enough to win a title, but a great season could set us up really well to start signing more 4-star recruits. And even though we're projected to lose 13 seniors plus like another 6 to 7 to the portal this season, which would be about 20 guys leaving, this is going to be the smallest class of players I go after, because I think in the portal, that's where we make our real splash. I've just started to pick up that recently we can sign 3-star transfers that were former 4-star recruits, though if we find a 3-star gym like this quarterback, we got to bring him in. And the unfortunate thing about finding a 4-star gym is I don't think we stand much of a chance, but I guess we might as well just see if we're able to sign him right now. It's really nice that I can start to get more picky, and this is the most 3-star gyms I've ever found as well. We have 3 of them on our board. Obviously, there's Manny, then there's this contact seeker running back, only 82 speed. It's not the best fit in the world, but I still have to go after him anyway, and we're opening up the season against a 57 overall roster. We beat both them and Georgia Southern pretty easily. We held them to 6 points both times, but we're about to go to UNLV. I feel like that's one to hop into just because they're probably one of the toughest teams on our schedule. That would just be a guess of mine since it's on the road, and I don't think many of our conference opponents are going to be tough. Yeah, they're a 67. A 67 overall team probably doesn't sound that challenging to you, and it's not. It just is with our schedule because of how easy it is. We have to keep one thing in mind though. We are using a true freshman quarterback. They're just going to throw it away with a minute left. But yes, I made the decision that we're starting the true freshman, and they just can't be throwing it up here. We got to get that pick. That could have been game. Instead, it's going to be 4th and 4. I accidentally switched sticked. There's a flag. I think it's because we ran into them. But at least it's not going to be much of a difference versus the yards that they already got. UNLV still has 40 seconds left to change everything. Send it to OT. TJ Stanley's thrown us 2 interceptions, though. I'm still expecting that he gives us a 3rd before the end of this game, and he has nowhere to go. This was one of my favorite formations to use back on NCAA Football 14, but I haven't used it as often. We've been running the 3-3-5 with this dynasty, though. Knock it loose. Knock it loose. I think Volk just saved us here. He just transferred in because this ball was in his hands for a good second. And as he's coming down with it, he was just able to hit him hard enough to where it popped out. I can't believe that we were able to avoid overtime there, but we're going to stay undefeated. The crazy thing about that game, though, is we controlled it for most of it anyway. Here is my issue with starting Enrique Pina. Even though we've been doing it, his accuracy is limited. I really wanted to see what would happen for the first few. The second that he lost the game, I was hoping that we could just sub him out like this because Kevin Cookus is our better option. But is it dumb for us to make a quarterback switch after starting the season 3-0? I think if Kevin Cookus ends up losing us a game, then we immediately pull him for good. They're just as accurate as each other for now, but that won't be true forever. We're about to play against our rivals. I don't think we're going to hop into it. I really messed up. What I should have done is schedule guys like Elijah Hager for a visit during this week. We could still get him to come in versus FIU, but the bonuses just wouldn't be as good. That's what we're going to go with anyway, though, and I've been trying to stack up as many complimentary visits for this week as we can. I do have some bad news, though, as we head into that matchup, and it's not our record. We're going to be 5-0, number 25 in the country headed into it. But Elijah Hager locked us out as he got to his top 3 right before. We're at number 5 still, so we have that battle that's not going well. We have Artie Hedgie, the 4-star center that Alabama's come back on. We might get this 4-star bust, but how much of a bust is JP Harmon really? Because he still has 82 power moves. He has 85 strength as a freshman. The 55 finesse moves is bad, but he is a pure power archetype. And I'm honestly more worried about how we're going to finish for some of these battles on the 3 stars. Like, I thought these corners would just be easy wins for us, but we're getting down to recruiting battles with North Texas. Either way, this is a must-win game for us because we still have other guys on visits, so we're going to play against 4-1 FIU. We just don't get many opportunities inside our conference for us to be playing against good teams. Did you just see those jerseys, though? Those are the jerseys I'm going to get to see when I go down to FIU for Vice Night. I think by the time this video comes out, I'll be there a week from today. You can see the All Blacks, though. It's a bad throw. And I'm surprised the EA already has them in the game. Yes, I will be headed down to Miami. I'm very excited for it. FIU was a great series for us. And I'm gonna be honest, it would have definitely added a lot to the series if we could have rocked these with the chrome numbers on them. That is not how things worked out, though. We won this game 30-3. It was a blowout. FIU's going home sad. I will still enjoy meeting you all down there, though, and also at the Kentucky game versus Texas on Saturday. I'll be at that one as well. It's been really neat and just a blessing. Again, a huge thank you to you all for all the opportunities that have come this way during college football this season. I'm not happy about the fact that some of these guys want to transfer. Like, why is Cookus upset? We are starting him. Same thing with Carrion. How much more playing time do we have to get him? He isn't a high enough overall to start over any of these guys, and we're honestly being generous, making sure that he plays before Hendricks or Josh Smith. Anyway, I kind of glossed over the fact that we got the 4-star center to commit just because it's an offensive lineman. JP Harmon seems like he's still going to come to our school. He's on a week 8 visit. But North Texas has a visit this week for one of those corners, and if they win that game, they're going to steal him away. Now, I just decided to advance a couple weeks into the future. It looks like we're going to stay undefeated. We got Middle Tennessee coming up, but they're 2-5, so we're not going to play against them. We're actually going to play against Louisiana Tech. And I'm done with recruiting until we get to the transfer portal. We got 2 4-stars. We're going to get this receiver. North Texas did take one of the corners from us, but we can just pick another one up in the portal. And we really haven't moved around after getting inside the top 25. We've kind of just been staying around this 21-22 spot. I mean, you all have seen our strength of schedule. I can't blame them for doing that to us, but there's a very real chance that we could go undefeated in the regular season and not make it to the playoff. I mean, this season, it just seems like every single win is pure domination from our team. It's kind of been like that in the conference championship versus Middle Tennessee, though. We're about to go up against 6-2 Louisiana Tech. They're undefeated in conference play. They look like they could be a little bit of a challenge on paper, but ultimately, I think we'll be fine. I always wondered, though, would our freshman quarterback make some mistakes? And he has in this game. In fact, our entire offense has been pretty off. Kevin Cookus only has about 100 passing yards. We're going to be able to get near midfield. But it's 17-all, and it's starting to dawn on me that we no longer have a receiver that we can just throw up jump balls to. Losing Ivan to graduation really stinks. We do have a 96 speed receiver over on the side, though. That is why Sam is going to get into the end zone. But as this game has gone on, what I've realized is Louisiana Tech still has their chance. It doesn't matter that Jose Hurd has thrown 3 interceptions in this game. It is far from over. We're watching underneath, but I can't guard that side too. We might just mix in a little bit of a blitz, though, where they have a dot. And it's not like I was seeing any screaming pressure there, so I tried to bring it on this play, but they're in. This is why we face off against some of these teams, though, because this result in Sim could have very well resulted in us just losing our first game. Instead, we are still in control of our destiny, and we're going to get out a quick read, try and get out of bounds. We didn't really need to. You just saw how we switched over to verticals, and they backed up the corner over on that side of the field. I swear they cheat. I was going to throw that one up to Sam Tenuta, but their corner just decided at the last second that he was going to back off him. And on 3rd and 3, I feel like there's a huge mismatch over on that left side of the field. We're just going to take the out route and get out of bounds. We are technically in field goal range from this spot, but this is not somewhere that you want to be kicking a field goal from, which is why we needed to get over their defense. And we can run up to the line, get it down to 2 seconds before calling a timeout, which will allow us to end this game. Louisiana Tech didn't even ice us. I think it's because we kicked it so fast. But that's going to keep the undefeated season alive for a little bit longer. Even with all this winning, though, it's not good enough of a playing style for 3 of our better players on this roster. We are definitely going to lose some receivers, and let's just see if we can finish this season undefeated. I can't hop into any more games. If we lose one of those final 2, it's going to be a problem. At the moment, it feels like we're controlling our destiny to get into the playoffs because our last ranking was number 15 in the country. And on the other side of us simulating, we're number 12 in the country going up against Delaware in the conference championship. That was not the name that I was expecting to see there. We beat them 35-7 the last time that we played. You can see how we ended this regular season. It was pretty solid. We're clearly the favorite in our conference every single year now, and I don't see why we wouldn't win it 3 times in a row. As for potentially firing one of our coordinators, we still have not gotten rid of anybody that we were with from the start. I feel like that was the smart decision though, because we got a lot of bonuses here. And then when it comes to recruiting, Zach Patterson is so close to getting us always be recruiting on running backs, but we need a couple more upgrades first. I just realized though that if we make the playoffs again, we are never going to unlock strategists because we're probably not going to win a game. But I guess that all depends on who we get drawn against anyway. I'll tell you what though, being in this close of a matchup versus Delaware with 4 minutes left is not a very good sign. That's a great read to Sam. But the refs haven't been on our side in this game, and they're reviewing this where they could end up taking this away. What are we going to see from this angle? If there's anything I like to do, it's complain about EA giving us awful replay angles. And then right before we could have seen the drag, they cut it. Either way, though, we're in a position where we get them off the field on 4th and 6, and it's over. We've let them just march, though. For the first 3 quarters, they couldn't move the ball. Recently, it's changed. Even if the Blue Hens are going for the onside kick as well, that we're going to recover. You have to keep in mind, they still have all 3 of their timeouts left, and they're going to try and stop this run. Now, we have 2 pretty solid running backs to bounce between. Reggie Goff is going to get close, but I think what we need to pull out on 3rd and inches is this RPO because we had the hitch open. You could just tell that they were not going to be able to get out there quick enough. We take our knee. We have a true freshman quarterback leading us to an undefeated season, our 3rd straight conference championship. This is just going to become the standard. Like, I'm going to enjoy looking at our coach contract from this perspective right here, instead of what it's going to be in a couple of weeks whenever we pick up that playoff loss. This is all the history that we got with Sam Houston, though. That's because they've only been at the FBS level for a couple of years. Bryce Baker won the Heisman Trophy with Western Michigan. If you can ever pick him up in the portal, I'd recommend it. He's pretty solid. We ended up getting the Lou Grosso Award, having the best kicker, even though those stats don't look like the best kicker. I feel like 28 field goals in a season is pretty high, though, and we got North Carolina. Now, if you compare this to what our other first-round matchups could have been against a team like Texas, or Ole Miss, or even Nebraska Notre Dame, I don't think we pull that off. But the Tar Heels give us a real chance to win our first playoff matchup, even if we have to head on the road, take on Chance Christmas, that receiver, and whoever they got at QB. If those are the stats that their #1 receiver put up, though, I'm not very intimidated, but I think we might need to learn to respect some of the teams that we face off against. You can see the stats. This has not been a good game for us. We're currently on a 4th and 5 that we're going to break 1 tackle on but still not pick up. And I'd argue the fact that our offense hasn't played that well in this game is because Kevin Cookus has a partial ACL tear that he suffered in the first quarter. He never really got his fair chance at a playoff win, so I'm considering this a loss for the rest of the team, but not him. He is still undefeated in his college career technically, at least for the games that he has started and finished, but he still doesn't like the playing time that he got this year. He's going to transfer. That's incredibly frustrating to see because at the running back position, it's a completely different story. We are splitting carries 3 ways. We average 6.6 yards per carry with Kentrell. They all care about playing time, but they want to return. Like Reggie Goff could easily just go and find himself another home, but I think he sees the potential in Sam Houston. And this might just be the worst receiving season that we've had in years. No wonder they don't like our playing style. The numbers aren't that good. At least we were able to make it back to the playoff, though, where Notre Dame went on to win the entire thing over North Carolina. They were pretty solid. And we're going to just hope that one of these 2 receivers returns whenever we try and convince him to stay. I see that Sledge is the only quarterback that entered the portal, so that's a plus. I don't really care if he leaves, even if he was one of the first quarterbacks that we recruited. Seems like nobody wants to return back to Sam Houston, even though we've had so much success. And I think losing 8 or 9 starters could cause us to regress next season. I guess that doesn't typically happen in this game, though. You end up getting better year after year because you can get better players like that 4-star tight end in the transfer portal. It is going to be hard for us to go 13-1 again, though. I'm probably just going to sign all the highest rated transfers from Texas that I can. Something that is definitely helping us attract more guys than usual as well is the fact that our coach prestige is up to an A-. I really feel like this year the transfer portal has gotten a lot easier as well. We weren't trying to sign an insane amount of players, but I did happen to forget a hard sell on the 4-star tight end as I was being cocky, so we ended up losing him to SMU plus this left tackle. But I still feel like we put together a solid class, even if both of the 4 stars that we got have normal development. We only saw star development on a couple linemen and freshman transfer receiver Pat Heller. So that means between the quarterback that we got in the transfer portal and Manny Escalante, both of them are just impact, but I think one of the two could be the starter in the future. It just might be a couple years because we currently have our answer at quarterback. We actually have a lot of young quarterbacks on this team. The class barely finished inside the top 50 though. Recruiting only in Texas isn't going to sign us a top 25 class unless we start getting a ton of 4-stars. I'm not sure if that's going to come though. I thought I was tripping out when I saw Mateo Pacheco had an 89 overall, but he's an 84. He's an 89 with our tactician bonuses. He gets a +5 off of our stat bonuses. So with all of that in mind, I guess I should have expected him to be our first player after training results to be above a 90 overall. I think Sam Tenanua is going to have a great senior season at receiver with his 96 speed. He is gold takeoff, and even if he didn't max out his route running, this is going to dominate against Conference USA. And it makes matters even better that Kevin Cookus is up to an 85 overall, so he did progress, and if his overall jumped like that, his accuracy had to have gone up, which it did. I guess Kentrell Magalulahan has maxed out his overall though, because our starting running back from last year did not improve while Reggie Goff did. And I will say, I've looked into what the future holds for this roster. We've got to start signing some better players, but we also need to start having some bigger classes again, because our seniors and juniors are bigger classes than our sophomores and freshmen. That's why I can't say it's the smartest that this season I plan to go all in, only going after 4-stars originally, but we're still going to shoot for getting that really good class and see if it backfires or not. If I had to highlight just one player I really want to talk about with this class, it would be JD Hartley. He's a 92 speed gym, 4-star elusive bruiser running back. But there are some other good 4-stars on here as well. If I had to guess, we'll probably sign like 6 of them. I also started to discover that the archetype signal caller for linebackers tends to be the fastest. If you look at Lurker, they are around like 80, 81 speed. So that's just something to keep in mind if you can't get athlete linebackers, because those guys are the fastest. Our first game against an FCS school, this is a free win. When it comes to some of the players that we're targeting though, I am going to have to remove hours from one of them so we can free those up and start using visits, which means this corner is just going to get taken off of our board. Oklahoma has better pipelines, and now we have 50 extra hours to spend every week on getting guys on campus. I'm literally expecting us to potentially have a couple of commits by week 5 or 6 just because of that. But all of a sudden, we've gotten to that week, and we still don't have any commits. There's a reason for it, though. You're going to see our record is 3-1, and there was a point where a bunch of players wanted to transfer due to our championship contender. I don't know how to explain the fact that we lost to Miami, Ohio, but we did, and we almost lost to Georgia Southern as well. So the team is struggling. Plus the wins for the visits that the prospects came in on were not against good programs, so we didn't get a huge bonus from it. We're not going to land commits the way I thought we were, and we're probably going to get like 1 or 2 4-stars. I'd also like to point out the fact that because we picked up 1 loss, it feels like this season is over, since I don't think we're going to be able to become a playoff team. The schedule that Sam Houston has in real life is just too weak in the future. Still though, we've already been able to get 2 4-star commits, so that was nice to see. A couple weeks later, JD Hartley, my favorite prospect, also decided to settle for Sam Houston, but for the rest of the 4-star prospects on our board, I don't know if we're going to be able to close any of them out. We might just finish with 4 4-star signings. It'll be interesting to see. We added a couple other players late from Texas. No one else seemed to want to recruit, but they do care about playing style. I don't know if I love that, but if you're winning games, your playing style grades seem to stay pretty high, and we're currently at 5-1, so we haven't lost since Miami, Ohio. We're kind of getting our chance to bounce back, especially because we're going on the road to number 24, 5-1 Toledo. But even if we happen to win this game, I don't think it's enough to get us in the top 25. There's no guaranteed wins either when we're currently in a position where if they score a touchdown, they're going to take the lead. They've just thrown up a 50-50 ball that we're going to snag away with West. We're taking it out of the end zone, but they still have all 3 of their timeouts. So a return here would really end the game. He just could not go all the way, so we got to get that first down, and the blocks are not there. We just need Reggie Goff to pop off for 1 big run. He's not in for this one. And on 3rd down, I'm looking over at Ruben. He's our tight end that's a really good route runner. He didn't quite get all the separation there. But let's be real. He should have held onto that football, and since he didn't, we got stuck punting it back to them. I mean, our coverage looked really good at the end of their last drive. I feel like we should have gotten a sack there. But even if we're currently locking down, I don't like giving them a chance. It's a loose ball. We might be able to get the safety. We do. And fortunately, after that, we can just end the game from there. So we're going to keep our season in line. We still have a chance to finish 11-1. Plus, we picked up a top 25 win, though I'm not sure why we were playing Toledo mid-season. I do have some great news though. Something I noticed is in our recruiting battle with Baylor, they don't have the championship contender grade to be able to go after Morton still, so they had to pull his scholarship. It literally might be the same reason that we end up winning out on Oscar Boren, because they were in second place, but all of a sudden they're gone. Even if it's been pretty tight, we've continued to win as well, which puts us at 8-1 with 3 games left in the season. I think we're going to hop into one against either Jacksonville State or Delaware. Maybe both of them too, because that could keep us out of getting to the conference championship. I'd really like to get back to the playoff for the 3rd year in a row though. We are the highest ranked group of 5 team. Charlotte's coming up close, but we have 1 loss, they have 2. So it really feels like we're going to get away with losing to Miami, Ohio. Now, if we don't take care of business in the final few matchups, we're not going to get away with it. But guess what? They couldn't even score on us. This game was kind of boring. We didn't put up that much offensively. We got the win. And I can't believe that we're still picking up 4-star commits as well. I mean, talk about a loaded recruiting class. We knew that this center was going to go to SMU, that we didn't stand a chance after our visit, didn't have a big impact, but we have been able to sign 4-star after 4-star. It looks like Manuel Fine is going to choose another school, but that's okay. We still have a couple other 4-stars we could get. And I think it's only right that we just make sure Delaware doesn't take us down. If it goes anything like the last one though, there's not going to be much to show or talk about. And just like everybody expected, we've been able to handle Delaware pretty well. We could have kicked a field goal and ended it, but we decided to go for it on 4th down. Now, we're probably going to have to kick because there was holding there, but I was trying to run up the score. But I want it to be known that we deserve that touchdown, not just this. That'll save face for Delaware a little bit. I feel like 31-12 doesn't look as bad as 35-12. Not really a huge difference there, though. It just comes down to the fact that most teams aren't able to handle our defense. And that win did guarantee our spot in the conference championship, but it does not guarantee our spot in the playoff. We still have to win on the road against our rivals. I don't think that they're going to beat us, but I had to sim it, and we only came out on top 17-14. That's pretty gross. We got FIU in the conference championship, though, so we're going to see those Vice jerseys again. And as the number 12 team in the country, you know what a win here means for us. It would be our 3rd straight playoff appearance and our 3rd straight conference championship. We've really been running things around here. I really feel like if there's anything these games have shown us this year, is we're not that great. We end up pulling away at the end of these games, and we make it seem like it wasn't ever that close, but truth be told, we went into the 4th quarter at 9-14, then we scored 21 straight. I feel like part of the issue, though, was the fact that Kevin Cookus tore his pec, and he's out for the rest of the season. He's been missing for a few games now, and we're not going to have him to take on Duke in the playoff. That's awful news for us because this is a winnable matchup. Toledo also made it here, so we kind of lifted each other up by playing each other, but I'm just expecting our 3rd straight 3rd round exit, this time because we have to use a backup QB again. It's wild too because when Enrique Pina first committed for us, I was so excited for the quarterback, but I've just grown to realize that he is very average, and that can't be swatted. We had a chance to go up 17-7. Now we're settling for a field goal that might not even go in. Defensively, we've been holding Duke all game. That has continued into the 4th quarter until this play. That really hurt to give up, but we might be able to get them off of the field on 3rd and 1. They're not going to want to settle for 3 though. They're going to go for it. We're going to send 7 in their direction, and they ran. The problem though is our offense has been just as bad as theirs. I think we're going to be giving it straight back. Now, if we could prevent them from picking up this 3rd and 6, that'd be nice, but instead we got burnt. We made an awful attempt at a tackle, and I'm glad that Span has the speed to catch it. I don't think it's really going to matter because they're going to take it in a couple plays later. But that's what we get for running man-to-man coverage, and we're about to be on a 3rd and 8. I've not liked a single thing about how this game has gone. I see the chance at a 50-50 ball over on the left side, but we just didn't have time there, and getting Duke off the field is going to have to come on this 3rd and 2. A playoff win is still possible. We're going to have to drive down the field in 2 minutes and score a touchdown, but that's doable for us. We just need to start with the small completions like this first one before the 2-minute warning. It'd be really nice if we could run our way down the field as well, but Duke has just been stopping the run all day. On 3rd down, Pina's got to get rid of it, and there's a flag. It's going to be intentional grounding. I don't know why our offensive line has just become awful. I feel like they're not holding up for anything. We're going to need at least 3 to 4 seconds on 4th down. And we got him. We got Hendricks. All right, the stance from Enrique Pina is really frustrating to this day. I don't know why he sits that low. But if he leads us down the field for a touchdown in this last minute and a half, he can do whatever he wants. The RPO bubble was a great play call. It looks like Carry-On's getting his biggest play with us. It was about time that Devin started to make an impact. I think the first 4-star that we ever signed was him. And we ran this play without success earlier on. They're still watching the RPO well. I don't know why I thought we could pull that out again. but we're going to need to get at least a little bit of it back on 3rd and 13, and we're going to have him. We're going to have him. We're in. You might think that Sam Tenuta has clutched up for us, but there is still a lot of time for Duke to get into field goal range. And I think the best thing that we can do is just run some match coverage. They tried to go underneath. The seam is what I'm most worried about there, but we should have it picked up. They're just sending it. They have the size. It's fine. I really don't like what they could go with here, but everything's guarded. Fumble. Ball is loose. We're going to not scoop it up. But who cares? We clutched up and we're moving on. If I'm remembering right, next up is going to be Ohio State. I was pretty sure that they were on our part of the bracket, but you know what? This is progress from the year we had before. For the first time in program history, we've actually won a playoff game. We still need to win one more bowl if we want to unlock strategist, which would really help whenever it comes to players transferring out. That's what tier 3 is for. Getting those visit bonuses would also help us sign better prospects a lot easier. To get that bowl win, though, we're going to have to beat the Buckeyes. 42 points per game. They got some great receivers, 94 overall. I have a feeling that we're not going to make it through this, but if we do, we'd play either Georgia or Clemson. If our team prestige could just rise up to like a 3.5 star, I'm not sure it can even get that high at Sam Houston unless we win a championship, but that's what I'm hoping for. It'll really help in recruiting. And I say all that before this game because this is the type of win that could get us there. We've put up 24 points in the first half. Now, in the third quarter, everyone's offense kind of slowed down. We're going to go for a run with Reggie that gets like 2, which might make you think that he's had a rough game, but he's run for over 100 yards. And the angle route is going to help us pick up the first, plus a lot more. Enrique Pina has only completed 50% of his passes, but you have to wonder if he could help us take down the Buckeyes. Does that mean that he should be the starting quarterback going forward? Because this would be a massive win for the program. It'd be a win I wouldn't even imagine is possible. They stopped him on that last sneak. He gets in here. But it's our defense that we're relying on in the final 4 minutes. Ohio State's gotten down to the 9-yard line. Now they're at the 6. If we can just keep them out of the end zone for 2 plays, they would just kick a field goal. And we might have them. It's 3rd and goal now. We'll see what they go with. I'm watching that over the middle. There's a lot of zones for us that need to be covered, or a lot of receivers that need to be covered, but he didn't get a foot in bounds, so they're kicking 3. Now, David Pina hit that kick for the Buckeyes, who is also related to Enrique Pina. It's a crazy family showdown, but they are second cousins, so they're not as closely related. On 3rd down, we're going to find Ruben. What a tight end. We might even be able to get him to sneak by the defense with this fake here. The block is going to hold up for long enough, but I think Pina would have been better just running straight towards the marker. He also got injured on that play, so we are down to our 3rd stringer who just needs to hand it off. However, it looks like Mike Rubin is going to get hit with a holding penalty. And Enrique Pina is going to be out for the rest of this drive with muscle cramps. We are seriously having to rely on sophomore George Reduns. Maybe we just put Sam on a streak and see if he can beat that corner out there. Doesn't look like he's going to. There's no separation. I was thinking we'd most likely have to give this ball back, but it's 3rd and 12, and you can see who's back out there on the field. Enrique Pina. We're so relieved to have the backup, and it's not going to matter. The best we can do is just pin the Buckeyes back now. That was a tough sack to take. It looks like they're not going to get to the ball, though. And we're going to get a little creative with our defense. We've not sent a single blitz off of this side. Now they are able to predict exactly what we're going to run. No one makes the tackle. You can't get in field goal range. Okay, we're good for now, but Ohio State is about 10 to 15 yards away, and we just aren't stopping the run. I think unless we cause them to lose some yards here, we got to let them get in the end zone. We have to. I mean, we're going to start sending some blitzes. We have to use timeouts. And ideally, we just make sure that they don't pick up the first down. Did they get it? They did. That juke was filthy. They can just run out the rest of the clock. We have to let them get in. Stop. I don't know how we're going to do this because they still have to go for like a 30-yard carry. Now they're throwing the ball. Don't make the tackle. Don't make the tackle. We might never see this ball again. I don't think we're going to get our comeback chance. They've taken the clock down. Wait, let him get in. Okay. It's not great odds. We're most likely just going to throw an interception and end this game. But we do have our slight chance. And we have our 3rd string quarterback just sending this up to Sam. He's done so much for this team. That's why I wanted to give him a chance to bring in the ball first. Now we're going to be looking for Ruben for a sizable gain, which we have. That was a really good play, but I think we're only going to get off one more snap. Come on. Snap it. Snap it. All right. What do we have? We're sending this up. Do go out of bounds. We're fine. I almost lost my English for a second because I just wanted us to get this final chance at a Hail Mary where we can throw it up to all these guys in the middle It's going to be short of the end zone. Wait, it's deflected. No. It looked like we could have come down with that ball, but it popped out of our hands. So Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, they're going to get us in the Rose Bowl. It's left us in a pretty awkward spot for next season as well, because I have no idea what to do about our quarterback spot. Both Kevin Cookus and Enrique Pina care about playing time, but they're satisfied with the playing time that they're getting. We could compare QBR, though sometimes I feel like it's misleading, and it says that Enrique Pina has the better QBR. He also didn't throw a single interception, but he has a lower completion percentage, and he doesn't pass for as many yards. I really don't know what quarterback we're going to start next season. It looks like Reggie Goff had his 10 touchdowns, not more than Gregory Conklin, though. And we truly just split carries between 3 different guys. Our receiving stats, once again, a little bit of a letdown. Mike Rubin was 3rd in yards. And there is only one player that wants to transfer out who was taking snaps in a playoff game. This is the best that we've retained a roster, though, ever. And I know we had 25 seniors, so we're still losing quite a few players. Looks like George wants to return anyway. But even though we're losing all those seniors, the fact that we were able to only have one guy potentially want to transfer says a lot. Now, with the first season that Sam Tenuta had for us as a freshman, I thought he would get better every year, but he actually just got worse. So saying goodbye to him doesn't upset me the way that you probably think it would. We actually had 3 guys get drafted. This is very good for our pro potential. And we are going to have an opportunity to sign a lot of 4 stars from Texas that are transferring. We have never had this many interested in us, but I guess winning a playoff game makes a difference. Now, just off a quick glance of the guys that we already have, we should be able to get both of these 4 stars, which would put us up to 9 4-stars out of high school. We did lose a few battles on 3 stars. I think we lost more battles for 3 stars than 4 stars this season. And I was really just trying to bring a couple of those 3 stars in so we could have some extra depth since we lost so many seniors. So when it comes to what progress we've been able to make in a couple of weeks on the 4 stars that are transfers, there are 7 of them on our board, and we have every single one of them scheduled for a visit. We have their hard sells out. We're trying our best. I mean, this is already going to easily be the best class that we've had in program history, but since I missed on a couple hard sells, I'm just having to accept that we're probably not going to be able to come back on this freshman left tackle. Alabama got this corner. And I will say, we went from easily winning on some of these receivers to realizing that we're probably not going to get them. That was enough of a shock for me to add like 5 or 6 other guys to our board that we can probably secure since no one else seems to want these transfers, but there was only one other receiver from Texas available. And with our extra hours, I am good to scout him. 82 acceleration isn't looking that hot. I actually think that's one of the positions that we were better at a couple years ago than what we're going to be this season, just because I know that we've been losing talent there. And let's see, of the 30 targets that were on our board, we lost the left tackle to Oklahoma. We were kind of expecting that. We lost out on a 4-star linebacker to Texas. TCU got that receiver. Texas Tech got that receiver. They just got more money to spend than us. But one of the freshman transfers we picked up, Greg Hacker, is a safety with star development, so that's a very good start to this class. I'm expecting some of these 4 stars to have stuff like elite development. We got that on a junior free safety. We got elite on Nico Ramey as well. And even Mo Uzama has elite development. So that's 3 straight elite developments. At some point it had to end, and it will never be that crazy again. But you know what? We had some gems as 4 stars that we were able to sign. So we got star on Adrian Morton, a receiver. We got elite on this left tackle, and JD Hartley is star. That's a very good sign for their future with us, and our class is going to be ranked inside the top 25. We've done it. We signed a top 25 class with players just from one state at Sam Houston. It's incredible. I should also note that those players that we picked up as 4 stars are coming in as like 86, 87 overalls. That's what both of these running backs are. Ryan Nevis has 97 speed. So if we can just put a couple more classes in the future together like this last one, I think we could really become title contenders. You can see that Kevin Cookus is up to an 89 overall. It's actually incredible to see the growth that a lot of this team has had. I don't like that Ryan Nevis is barely going to get touches this season, but he cares about playing style. So if we run the ball well, he will be back for his senior year to start. And I can already see that he is platinum shifty, but I have to see if he can get any faster, which he can't. So this is why his overall is kind of staying down. We really do need to rely on a whole new generation of receivers though, because once Devin Carrion's gone, I don't know who's going to take his place as another fast, great target. And then at the tight end position, we have 3 seniors. Just from looking through that roster though, there is absolutely no excuses for us to lose a game this season. We have a 91 overall team. We'll look at our schedule. I mean, maybe in the year 2031 Sam Houston has somebody difficult that's going to be on here, but it's Tulsa, Oregon State, and Air Force that are our non-conference opponents. If Kevin Cookus can just stay healthy for his senior season, we might really see ourselves competing for a championship. He maxed out basically every single skill cap that he has besides one on health. And I wasn't sure if we'd ever get to this point in the rebuild where I can sit here and say I only want to go after 4 and 5 stars from the state of Texas, but I think that's the next move that we have to make. Now, as I was scouting some of those players this morning, I've run across what has to be the rarest last name I've ever seen on this game. I couldn't even begin to tell you how I'm going to pronounce this, so if he signs, we're in a lot of trouble. Well, I'm in a lot of trouble. You all would probably just get enjoyment out of it. We can put 60 hours on our quarterbacks this season, and there's no other schools that are offering Prince a scholarship. As for our first game of the season, we're taking on Tulsa, and I feel like a 65 overall might be one of the higher overall teams on our schedule. So we're just going to play them. Last year, we lost a non-conference game that I would have never expected us to lose, and I'm trying to avoid that. I think we have some real concerns with this team, though. Thankfully, we break the tackle on third down to get the first. But whenever it's come to what our offense can do through the air, it's not been there in this matchup. In fact, most of our success has come on the ground, and we are going to hit Ryan Mevis on a halfback screen on 3rd and 2 with his 97 speed, because I feel like no one's going to catch him. There's one guy there that we hurdle, and we even pointed to him before we reached him, but maybe we should have focused on getting in. Just the fact that we're in this position, though, really worries me. I think we'll close this game out, but how are we going to do the rest of the season? We're going down on the 2-point conversion. Ideally, we can just get them off the field on 3rd and 16. It looks like they have a drag, but we got multiple guys over there ready to wrap up. And we'd actually score a touchdown after that, but it doesn't help us that much because we still need to get another stop, which we have done with Volk getting the pick, ending this game. Ever since we got Clarence Volk in the transfer portal a couple years ago, he's had some great moments for this program. Though, again, we kept it close with Tulsa. Even if we do win every game on our schedule, that's just something to keep in mind that we're probably not going to be competitive with a playoff team. And Oregon State's another one of those programs that I just want to hop in against. It's safe to say that this one is not as competitive as our last. We make the tackle on 4th down, but they still picked up the first, and they're eventually going to get in. We're still up by 10 points, so as long as we recover this kick, we're good. But this is just another example of our offense not being as efficient as we need, and I think it all comes back to our receiving core being worse than it has been the last couple years. I know that if we switch over to something like a Michigan playbook, though, we're probably going to run the ball a lot better, making that the key focus of our offense as we get through most of this season. On the recruiting side, I am going to pull out of my first prospect, Craig Allen. Alabama's just got the better pipeline, and even with our hard sell, we're not winning him, so we're going to take those hours, start scheduling some visits for some of these other players. We're going to keep on winning, but the issue with the visits that I've scheduled is they're against schools that just aren't going to get us much of a bonus. We could play against Louisiana Tech instead of Jacksonville State, but this game is also a visit week for us, and I don't want to lose to a 5-1 team. We're in the running for a 5-star still. I don't think that we're going to beat out Texas even with a win. We have some other players that are close to signing, though SMU is definitely getting that center. And I think we're just going to rely on the transfer portal again for getting a lot of our biggest impact players. I know that those 4-star transfers won't be with us forever, but they come in as like 85, 87 overalls. And they're the reason that we can just come out and completely destroy some of the best teams in our conference. I mean, look at us running up the score in the rank. I'm still going to miss our first 4-star signing with him leaving us at the end of this season, but at least we got a big win. Pat Heller was our best receiver, though, with 5 touchdowns, over 200 receiving yards. And I guess if we're going to sign Prince, I'm going to have to learn the last name. Amado Rabihibi. One thing that I have noticed, though, is even with all of these wins, our championship contender grade is not that high because I think our blue chip ratio is still pretty low and we're not getting impressive victories. So that's something that we've been able to get up from like 2% to now 20%, but it still needs to go up more before we're going to get a lot of respect. Since we've already hopped into 3 games, though, we're going to have to sim our final 7. This is the one I'm most worried about. We were both undefeated. We had to head on the road. We got some 4-star signings coming in after it, and it looks like Pat Heller has continued to dominate this year. In a 43-10 win, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to finish this season undefeated. But I am noticing that we're not able to close out a battle for Jaron Daniels. It seems like Arkansas is going to come back there. We lost the 5-star who was a bust to Texas. Not the worst loss in the world. We knew that center was going to go to SMU. This receiver is ours, and the rest of our board just has a couple 3-stars on there. There's really not that much else to see out of this season. I think we took care of everything that's under our control. We're going to go to week 15, see if we're in the conference championship. If we're not, I don't even know what I'll say. I mean, we've been running laps around Conference USA for the past few seasons, and this year is going to be no different. I think during that time frame, we fell in the rankings, though. Jacksonville State inside the top 25 for this matchup. I don't think that they're going to give us a good game, but this could increase our ranking a little bit more. For a second, I thought that we might need it as well if we weren't going to be the 5th highest rated conference champion, but it looks like we're pretty comfortably ahead of Georgia Southern. So we'll still make our way into the college football playoff. Jaron Daniels did choose Oklahoma State, but for the rest of our board, everyone else has committed. Besides us losing on this punter, fine, I'll remove him from our board. We don't even need another punter. I will say, I thought we'd sign more than just 6 4-stars. We're averaging 42 points per game this year. I'm expecting that to drop next season with all the seniors that we're losing. But for all we know, since we're going to get another chance at winning a championship, maybe we can make a deep run in the playoff this season. I think our defense has gotten hot at the right time. We took them down 34-0. It's just another case where we're blowing out all of our conference opponents. Hopefully that result gets us some respect. I know that we're not really playing anybody, but I thought because we've consistently gotten back to the playoff year after year, we'd get a little bit of a higher ranking than 12. I'm going to take back all my complaining though, because this is exactly where we want to be. We're going to get Utah in the first round and then the Fighting Illini in the quarterfinal. Of all the teams in the playoff, this is the best draw. It gives us our best chance at actually making a deep run, because I know on paper we can be pretty competitive with these teams. If you just look at overall, obviously it looks like we're 20 overall is better than Utah, but I think once we go over and compare our rosters on paper, what you're going to see is they do have a pretty worse roster than ours, actually. I'm shocked by this. I figured a Big 12 team would still have at least a few guys above a 90 at this point in the dynasty, but they don't. So even though we're headed on the road, if we don't win this game, it's embarrassing. It's the first time in the playoff that we've actually had the talent advantage, and it's starting to show as we just get into the end zone, taking a 14-point lead in the 4th quarter and putting a lot of pressure on Utah to be able to score on this drive. I don't think they will. It is now 4th and 6. We get them off of the field here. I'd say that's the end of the game. It's over. We'd take a 3-possession lead from there that they couldn't overcome. But apparently our playing style is still not enough for Ryan Mevis to want to stay at our school. That's actually a big thing I'm taking note of, because I need the junior to return so we have a great running back next season. And I just realized we have done it. We've unlocked strategist. This could cause us to keep him around. I've saved up 178 coach points for this moment. We purchased the tree. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to get tier 3, lower the bar. Now he has a lower deal breaker threshold. If we go down to him, you'll see that the 97 speedster now only needs a B grade for playing style to stick around. So he will be staying with Sam Houston. And that's why I've been trying to go down that pathway with my coach in this rebuild, because it can be super overpowered. We're going to have more points per game than the Fighting Illini in this matchup. That makes me feel pretty good about it. They're an 84 though. And if I had to guess, their roster is going to be pretty similar to ours. They have a 93 overall quarterback. Damian Whitaker is going to be the hardest player for us to stop. Also a 94 speed linebacker. I would love to use him as our user. It looks like if we end up getting past them, we'd have to play either undefeated #1 Georgia or Notre Dame in the next round. So that's not ideal, but it would be the farthest that we've ever made it. I'm really wondering though if our team prestige is even increasing at this point. I think we've been stuck at 2.5 stars for like the last 3 seasons. And you won't believe who's out there on the field whenever we need to come back in the final quarter. That is right. I don't know what our luck is, but Enrique Pina is back for the team, and he might just lead us in a comeback. I mean, we're about to get in with Reggie Goff, bringing it within a possession. But what are the odds that Kevin Cookus just can never stay healthy for the big games? I have never had a quarterback as injury prone as he is. This is not going to be a good throw, but there is a flag. And it's against the Fighting Illini, so we're going to get to redo our 2-point conversion attempt. This might not be the smartest play that they were able to box up, but they weren't thinking about the run. And we just have to get the ball back one more time. We got them on a 3rd and 9. They're going to keep it, and we're all over the QB. I can't believe what I'm seeing, though. From the 44-yard line, they sent out their kicker, who's going to miss. And Enrique Pina could really lead us to a comeback in this game, as we're now at the 25. Maybe he was the answer all along, and we have just been ignoring him because we know his accuracy can't get better. I really don't know what to say at this point. If we get man-to-man coverage, we should have our deep post, but it might be a pick. I threw it knowing he was in double coverage. Enrique Pina's making mistakes that we can't have. There was just no reason to force it there. At least our defense is strong. On 2nd and 12, they go for a handoff that we're all over, but we still have to get them off the field. On 3rd and 13, and those blocks were really nice. Without the user play, they would have picked up the 1st down. but we have our chance. Maybe a punt return can put us in some good field position as well. Most importantly, though, we just need Enrique Pina to not force it. We don't have to score quick. We have plenty of time. In worst case scenario, we just kick our field goal and take it to overtime. So it's really all about him forgetting the 2 interceptions that he already had. Can we escape this, though, with him? This is going to be a risky throw. Make that catch. Make that catch. I feel like Jaquez Rashad has made some really, really great plays for being one of our smaller receivers. He has it in the end zone. That is back-to-back huge catches for him. The Fighting Illini have 30 seconds. I know our defense can hang on with 30 seconds left, especially if they're taking checkdowns. They even wasted more time before using their first timeout. We're actually going to be headed to the semifinal with Sam Houston. I mean, look at this. We're about to get the sack. 93 overall Damian Whitaker seems completely lost back there. And all of our zones are covering everything perfectly. There's just no way they make it to the marker. I still think it's going to be a long shot for us to win a national championship, especially since we're about to take on undefeated #1 Georgia. And I really have to think, if Kevin Cookus is healthy, do we want to play him in this game? I'd like to, and he's not on the injury report, even though some of our key defensive starters are. But do we think the senior's going to stay on the field, or is he going to get injured again? His accuracies are just the best that we have, so it'd be dumb to not roll him out. What's neat about Enrique Pina as well is since he got some playoff game experience, he likes his playing time. He's going to return next season once Cookus graduates, so he could have the starting job. He's just not going to get it in this massive playoff game where we're running up against the first program that averages more points per game than we do. There's a lot of games that I expect us to win in a season. This is one where we go in as a complete underdog because our roster is a lot worse. And you can see the situation that we're in at the very start of the 4th quarter. This game is not over, but we definitely need to play perfectly. Rashad gets this one. And I'm hoping Reggie Goff can take this pitch to the house here. He's going to catch it. One guy to stiff arm. Not in. That stop gets him 1 yard short of being at 100 yards in this game. Are we going to hold up on the run, though? We do. Now for the 2-point conversion. That's a little odd, but it worked the last time that we ran it. We're going to have the motion. We have the handoff, but we're going to get stuck. There is still a good amount of time left, but that was a little bit discouraging. We got to wrap up, which we do on 3rd and 10. And I really want to see Pat Heller in one-on-one coverage deep, but they're guarding him closely. We've been looking at our checkdowns more often than not. We're going to run on 3rd down to go for it on 4. We always knew that this was 4-down territory, and underneath, you know who's reliable. It is so stressful being in this position. I thought we were going to have our corner route. Our tight end is going to draw a flag. The funny part, too, is they're going to celebrate, and we ran into him, but it's going to be against the defender. We're going to continue to leave corner routes out there on the field. That's what they're guarding. It's opening up a lot for us, especially since they're so keen on stopping Mike Rubin, just not here. Now, this is one of those teams where going out in mid-blitz is really scary. But you either give up like a 70-yard touchdown run, or you're able to stop them on 3rd and short, which is how we're getting the football back again. We're going to cut to the left side. That needed to be more sudden, but you see the position that we're in. Yes, we still need to get at least a field goal to be back in it, but we have a chance to take down Georgia. I like our check down. And I always want to keep at least a couple underneath options so we can continue to move the chains, which we do. What would be super sweet is if Ryan Mevis could just break off a huge run with his 97 speed. But on the ground, we've not had that much success, mainly because of how good Georgia's D is. There's basically no chance that we're running the football against them. They even boxed up Rubin here. So it's 4th and 5. We're going back to one of our more reliable plays we've been using. Man-to-man coverage. Can the throw be on the money? It is. Devin Carrion is going to keep us in this game. On the ground, we're going to get like 6. That's big for us in this matchup. Do we trust Reggie Goff on 3rd and 4, though? No. I don't know why we tried to cut back. We should still be able to tie things up, though. They got close to blocking it, and it almost went wide right. But if there's one thing about this team, we can consistently get Georgia on these 3rd and longs, and we're going to get a pick. We're going to get a pick. They threw it straight at us. If Quincy West somehow dropped that football, I would have been disgusted because this sets us up to win this playoff game with the field goal. Georgia knows it too. They are burning timeouts. We need 1 first down, and the slant gets us a little bit closer. I'm not sure if we should put this ball in the hands of Mike Rubin, but we're going to see what they're playing. We're going to have to keep it on the ground. Do we have it? See, this is one of those situations where running it might not be worth it. Maybe we bring over another blocker. Mike Rubin's not a great blocker, but we want to just get the numbers on our side. I want to end this game. Come on, come on. The reason we just went for it there is now Georgia can't get the football back. They're not going to have a chance to respond. That was a decision that if it didn't work out the way that it did, I would have been questioned heavily by the media. But now that we're just settling for a field goal, everyone's happy. and we're not getting it. I'd actually prefer if we did in the next couple plays, only because I don't want to risk our field goal attempt at the last second getting blocked. And we have it. We have it. Georgia is going down in the Peach Bowl to Sam Houston. We're going to be in the national championship. And that is all because of our fourth quarter comeback, but we're going to have to play the team that looks so similar to us. Whenever I see the paw of Sam Houston, it literally looks like Clemson's logo. It's a Bearcat versus a Tiger. Both of us are undefeated. And I have to know what the rosters are looking like. We have 6 players above a 90 overall. Clemson is going to have so many guys above that threshold. They have a 96 overall quarterback. This is what we're stuck going up against. I almost want us to go into tactician and just make sure our offensive line can play better by getting some of these bonuses, even if it takes away the upgrades that I can purchase in strategists, because we have a real chance at just ending it all right now. We could win this rebuild. I'd probably still play another season just to see how we do, but this could be our championship. There's also the possibility that we just get blown out. That was the way the Georgia game was trending till I stepped in. And that's why anytime we have an opportunity to finish a drive with a touchdown, we've got to be able to do that, which Mevis just helped us pull off. You can see what Clemson's done to us in this first half, though. They've been able to score 21, and they have us on a 3rd and 13. I don't believe we're going to pick up. They'd go on to score another touchdown after that, putting us down by 2 possessions. But look at how open Mike Rubin is. He's going to allow us to get to the red zone. A key piece in this game, a reason that we're still in it, is we don't have any interceptions, and we're not going to throw one here. Kevin Cookus has done a very good job controlling the rock. But sometimes there's just nothing that you can do. We're going to overload that side of the field with this concept. We aren't going to catch it. And here we go. It's 3rd and goal. I think you know what my read is going to be. It's the guy that we've been relying on. He's just got to catch it. He doesn't. We might regret this. We might regret this a lot, but we're going to go for it on 4th and goal. We're going to go for it. Come on. We got him. This entire playoff run's just been based on us doing stuff that could go south. And even if they got that 3rd down, we forced a pick a couple of minutes later, which gives us the football back. Down by 7. We could tie things up in the 4th quarter with this drive, though there's nowhere to run. This defensive line has been eating us alive. Thankfully, Rashad's going to get free due to a little bit of a pick play. And I don't know why I'm even looking deep versus a team as solid as Clemson. We're just going to have to go underneath the Mevis, who gets us 5. I will try and run the rock again. This time we're getting good blocks. This is one of the first times we are. But do you see some of the juke moves that we're working with? No one is falling for that at all. We might go for a 50-50 ball over on that side. Never mind. We're going to have our tight end. Jewel, the backup, is in. We have even gotten Clemson on a 3rd and 19. We're protecting the sticks. Everyone's backed up. We gave up a big 3rd down when we were trying to get them off the field earlier, and they kind of had the seam for a second. They've got way too much time, but our match coverage just didn't do the job long enough. We only sent 3, and they weren't able to generate any pressure, which is understandable. They're going to force it, though. They're going to force it on this 3rd and 7. We got the interception, and it's going to go for 6. A national championship is just 4.5 minutes away. I can't believe it. That read just doesn't even make sense to me. They are throwing on 3rd and 4, which is what you would think they would do. We have to watch the slant, though. They're sending it deep. We're swatting this. Just swat it down, swat it away. Now, this is a very questionable decision with 3.5 minutes left. Dabo Swinney is going to have to answer to the press if they never see the rock again. I appreciate his decision, though, because we can run out the clock. I told you all that running the ball hasn't worked for us well in this game, though, because it really hasn't. They always get in. So that might be why he's just so confident to get a stop. But our halfback angle route to Reggie Goff is getting open, and if he's in field goal range, it's going to make it hard on the Tigers. Kevin Cookus, 271 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. We just needed him to stay healthy for this to be possible. And we are going to play the clock smart from this point, because I think we can hit a field goal from here, whether we get the first or not. Maybe we do go for it on 3rd and 4, though. What we're going to do is look at Pat Heller. We're also going to look at our senior on the left side coming across. Pat Heller is there. The throw on the money. And we shouldn't even get in the end zone. That gave Clemson an opportunity to get back in this game, but they've not taken advantage of it. It is now 3rd and 10. They have a screenplay out there, though we couldn't make the tackle at first. I think we're going to be all right. I think we're about to end Clemson's hopes. They just throw it up. What are you doing? You can't test our corners. Our corners are like that. I don't care if it's Sam Houston. We've recruited very well out of the state of Texas, and it's going to get us a national championship. I thought this was going to take at least another 2 seasons, so I still want to play one more year to see if we can go back to back. And really, how our entire roster is affected whenever we're losing starting quarterback Kevin Cookus, who threw for 51 passing touchdowns. The senior was on top of it, almost 5,000 passing yards. He was incredible. So was Reggie Goff on the ground. Now, you have to consider all of these stats, like 25 receiving touchdowns for Pat Heller, are coming off of the fact that we played 17 games this season. But it was a great year for us, and we've unlocked Program Builder. This is something I never get to go down in my rebuilds, but I figure we might as well see what's inside here and spend our 70 coach points. I feel like if there's any of them I'm going to want to use, it's going to be targeted at Nico Ramey, because he's a 90 overall, a junior corner, the best one on this roster, projected 4th round pick. We have a medium chance at persuading him to come back, but there is an ability in here where we can get our 3rd through 7th round projected players less likely to leave for the NFL, and I want to see if that helps. As for anything else, I could go ahead and boost stuff like our pipelines, which could help a little bit in recruiting, but we're only playing one more season, so I'm not going to do that. Though I do think that could be some of the more overpowered stuff inside here. We could also increase our composure at home, on the road, and I don't think we're going to have to worry about rivalry games. I do feel like a lot of those abilities just weren't that impactful, though. We still have a medium persuasion chance on him, but he's decided to stay, so in my opinion, it worked out. George could still be our starting quarterback, but he's going to decide to transfer. Manny won't see the field anyway. And if we sort by all the highest overall players that we're losing, Reggie Goff is a big loss. We're also losing some players like Mike Rubin at tight end, who's a projected 7th round pick, but he was great for us. And we're also saying goodbye to Devin Carrion, who was never as great as you would think he would be, since I talked about him so much, but he was that 4-star recruit. We also are saying goodbye to quarterback Kevin Cookus. When he was healthy and he was on the field, he was good, especially this last season. But this last season is the first time that he's played an entire year without getting injured, so NFL teams took that into consideration and no one drafted him. As for who we're going to pick up in the transfer portal, since we're still recruiting only in Texas, I feel like our options are going to be pretty limited, but we do have a couple of defensive additions, 4-star transfers that would be big. And in going after some of these players, I'm really just trying to cover for where we have some team needs. One of those gaps was wide receiver, so we signed Reggie Minor. I think he's going to be pretty solid. We got a couple other 4-stars too. And it's not like this is going to go down as our greatest class in school history. That was last year, but it does what it needed to, filling the holes that we had. It didn't even finish inside the top 25, but it was pretty close to it. Though I have noticed we still have to figure out who our starting tight end's going to be. This is where someone like Adrian Morton's just going to have to take a big step forward for us, because he is his star development and he can be a 77 overall vertical threat, but he's only a sophomore. Since he was 6'5" and he can gain like 5 pounds in the offseason, he might not weigh that much for a tight end, but he was the best fit that we had on this roster. We also have Pat Heller and Reggie Minor as our best 2 receivers. I'm curious, Enrique Pina is up to an 88 overall. I don't know how this is even possible. His accuracy has still been capped out, but I guess it's because he's been maxing out his IQ. Maybe that'll help us in sim. Ryan Mevis didn't have that much room to progress, and for our entire team, you're going to see a 98 overall corner in 99 speed Nico Ramey. That's why we needed him to return to school. I also think that if I cut the right players, we are going to hit a 99 overall. And let's see what this schedule is looking like this season. We're projected to be the 18th best team, but they put Notre Dame and Michigan on here. I don't think they're playing them in real life. If they are, though, we're just going to pretend that they're not, because I want to see if this team can get back to the college football playoff. And that's literally it. I'm not doing anything else. We're just simming to the end of the regular season. It's safe to say that everything went the way I was expecting. We beat Houston 34-0, and there were just a lot of super easy wins for us on this schedule, though a couple of close calls. And that has put us in the conference championship versus Louisiana Tech. If we win this game, I think that means that we would have won 30 in a row. And something I didn't even consider before simming the rest of this season was spending some of our remaining coach points just upgrading our defense a little bit. I guess we needed that to take down the Bulldogs as well, since we only beat them 21-13. That means we have now won 6 Conference USA championships in a row. This is our 5th straight playoff appearance in a row. And our current coach record in this rebuild is 87-25. What we're still here though for is if we can go back-to-back in natties. Toledo had a very good quarterback. They've been pretty dominant in this dynasty file in the MAC conference. Penn State's our first opponent. And I can tell you right now, Oklahoma State is looking like a great quarterfinal matchup. To get there, though, we have to beat the Nittany Lions, who are pretty good. They average 40 points per game, just like we do. And at least we have no major injuries going into this matchup, but we are playing on the road, which is not ideal. I was able to save this team in a couple games last season, but when you've only been able to score 7 points, and Penn State's going up by 17 with 6 minutes left, it's hard to win. What it's come down to, though, is Enrique Pina is not that good. At least we moved the chains. But it's taking us so long to even score another touchdown against the Nittany Lions, and it's 4th and 6. I really wanted to go back-to-back with Sam Houston. It's just not looking likely. So we'll take getting down to 1st and goal. Now we're going to be patient and force it into that window. It would have been super beneficial for us if we could have just scored on that play. I was thinking about clock management and getting this football back. That's such a blind read. Just end this video. I never enjoyed when Enrique Pina would take the field for us. James Franklin can take this win. At least we were still really successful with Sam Houston. We got our national championship. Just compare these stats to what we had last year, and you can see where the difference was in this team. Even our receiving stats are nowhere near as impressive. And I feel like unless Sam Houston made the move to join a bigger conference, we kind of hit our ceiling with this program. At least we lost to the eventual national champions. We only put 6 players on to the NFL. And that's going to do it for this rebuild. This is just your reminder. Please check out Student Seats. Show me some love. I'd really appreciate it if y'all could do that. Links will be in the description. And watch some of my other content if you made it this far.